Welcome to the Winners and Losers Show. Hello, everybody. It's the first episode of 2026, episode 220 of the Winners and Losers podcast here with your host, Hank Thompson. I'm back. My trademark return from mysterious nowheres. That's what's happening today. It's very exciting. What a thrill to be returning to your ear holes and your face holes. And by face holes, I mean the ones God gave you, okay? The two right here. All right, photons and sound waves. That's what we do here on YouTube and Libsyn and other podcast distributors. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being patient. Who has a choice not to be patient? You know, you're alive, right? You were forced into existence by some horny people back in the either, anywhere between 16 years ago and 100. I assume that's the possible range of listeners to my show. What am I doing? Yeah, it sucks that they just did that to you. Sorry about that. Just all of a sudden you're just like, whoa, look at all these. It's like being abducted, right? Like we talk about the alien abductions and it's just like, no, actually that was your doctor and your parents. And then they make you pay bills. It's really messed up. And you got to bury your parents eventually. That's also kind of, okay, this is not how we, this is how we usually start the show. Let's be honest. So this is going to be a quick one, I hope. I'm going for an hour. I'm totally overwhelmed for various reasons, as is tradition, but I've cornered myself by fucking off too much on work I was needing to do, and have to do a lot all at the same time, kind of. So I'm kind of busy, and it's good busy. And I'm actually super excited to share about some of these projects I'm working on, and I'm really eager for them to be done so I can stop working on them, because even though they're the sorts of things that I'm getting paid for and I'm learning from, meaning like I always learn from like more challenging things, but like I'm going to be happy that this work is done. I still can't. I still hate it. I still completely hate it. Who wants to... My God, man, this is why the spoils of effort should be distributed much more evenly throughout society. Not literally even, but we should all just be able to be like, yeah, I don't want to work. I don't want to. You know what I see online? God, I'm already going off the just when people say anybody who works 40 hours a week shouldn't have to live in poverty and should be able to live in with dignity and see a doctor and get food. And I'm like, no, that number should be 0. Nobody should have to work, ever, not even a little bit, because I trust humanity. If we provided basic necessities to people, currently in our current world, starting from where we're coming from, we have a ton of exhausted, traumatized people who need a damn break, who need a big break, and probably might not have the emotional foundation in just as a structural engineered thing by society to do it well, meaning people, if suddenly we decided that, you know what, enough with this crap, enough with giving the military trillions of dollars, enough with, we're going to end the era in which society is just a placenta for the wealthy, where your entire existence is just to exist as a nutrient rich cell that pumps nutrients out until you conveniently die after your body is exhausted, and the working class dies 10 years on average, lives 10 years younger. Jesus, Hank, shorter than the ruling class, than the elites, than the 1%, than the top 5%, than people who can go to see doctors and the people and all those people, and they're all stressed out and miserable anyway. Anyway, we should be providing universal basic services and universal housing, no matter what. You don't have to work to get it, in my opinion, because I trust humanity to take a break. As I was trying to say, people are going to need to decompress, take long breaks, but humans don't like just sitting around. And if some people choose to just sit around and do nothing, great. There's your little apartment. Go buy your food. Yeah, you're not going to go on fancy restaurants and vacations and whatever the heck else, but you get to exist and you get to be safe. And that way you're also not the rest of our problem, because we hold on to your dignity as a asset that is valuable to the rest of us, even for selfish reasons. So anyway, all right. Didn't mean to get into that. So, okay. I just needed, this podcast is hopefully going to become more consistent here in 2026 as we round the new year. It has been a really rough past week or two with the news and everything. I have so many thoughts. I'm going to try to withhold myself and stick to some sort of schedule here or some sort of plan. I did want to just talk a little bit about this show, where I've been. I didn't go anywhere. I just couldn't do it. I just have capacity problems. My imagination is far bigger than my capacity in terms of what I think I could do and versus what I can do. And some days I have all the energy in the world, and some days it's just like I'm barely able to force myself to brush my teeth, if I can even do that. This last bit of few months, I was working on. Oh, actually, I should put the website on screen. Some paid work, and as you know, I've had really difficult time with income and with resources, and I almost had to move out, and I still have a very tenuous living situation that I need to try to rectify, and I'm working every day to try to do that. One big way would be with this film. Tell the truth, Cenk has been stalled for a bit, but 2026 is the year we finally land this plane. Okay, we parked the Spruce Moose up in the clouds, and it's been hovering and circling the airport. This is the year we bring it down and land it. Why does that sound like fun? Landing an airplane's not exactly that. There's way more exciting things to do in a human's lifetime. I should come up with something better than that. But anyway, last year was hard. Last year was really not, I am very determined to try to make 2026 my low, or 2025 one of my low point when things turn around. I've had worse years. I could probably I'm not. Jesus Christ. Mentally, I'm doing an inventory of my worst years. That's fun. But I really am hopeful, and I'm seeing. I mean, with the way the world is right now, it's really difficult to hold on to hope and to feel like there's something worth fighting for or even contributing to, and it's so easy to just fall into despair. But in 2025, though, one of the highlights for me was getting on food stamps. Was finally, I didn't even really, I had just sort of eliminated that as something that was available to me or something I should do. And I feel a lot of shame, and I feel like that kind of encumbrance. They really make it so that individualism thing, where you don't have the, you feel like you're a loser, or some sort of you're some sort of soaking up off the government, or you're getting help from your society, and they really trained you to like beat yourself up if you get some help from your society, just so that you can eat, just so you can stay alive, just so that you can have a bit of food, all the wasted food that goes out. And as soon as I did, and they actually did an emergency call. I signed up on Saturday, and they called me on Monday. It was very effective government, man. And the guy was super nice, too. He was patient and cool. And cool might be putting it too much. He wasn't singing limericks, which is my definition of cool. But it went, and they gave me the maximum amount. They're like, you need some help, dude. And so I've, been grateful for that. And that was a huge not breaking is not the right way to put it, but it really meant a lot to me. And I still have, because I can hold various, my brain is a simulator, so I can still simulate the shame side of this whole thing. And even it's almost embarrassing to say it onto a podcast. Like, oh my God, you're admitting to that. But then you look at the people at the top of the society, and it's nothing but it's not just a river, it's a waterfall. It's the Niagara Falls. It's those big ones in Africa. It's those big ones in South of America. It's those big ones in Asia. And by the way, Europe, come on, you're not a fucking continent, okay? You're a peninsula. You're a big one, but give me a break. Europe is a continent. Shut up, Europe. Kiss my ass. I don't know what to do. What if that was like my big thing? And okay, all right, okay. But the people at the top of the society are just soaking in torrential rivers, sky highways of pouring liquid, of free shit from the governments, free stuff for everybody. I mean, for them, all the time, enough for millions and millions and millions of years, not just in the form of spending to maintain infrastructure so that they can operate their markets or train their workers or train their consumers. And of course, the only thing holding up the economy right now is this AI bubble, which is the ruling class's attempt to replace all workers with much more easy to manage robot labor. essentially, here's how you can think of that, by the way, and you should remember this one, so tune in here real quick. They're trying to shift from calorie-based labor to electricity-based labor, okay? Humans are flesh laborers. They tried slavery. They're still doing slavery. Let's not kid ourselves, but chattel slavery in America was especially heinous. But humans are annoying. Humans are, messy and expensive and start unions and do crazy stuff all the time, right? Meaning they have there's a lot of factors, a lot of variables. And to the ruling class, to the evil demons that operate these societies for their own benefit, they're fed up with having to put up with humanity. If they can replace humanity with AIs and robots and can somehow self-sustain that, they are absolutely interested in doing that. That's why they're all salivating. They're like vampires hooked on, like, if that's like the equivalent of some sort of heroin, fentanyl sort of substance. Humanity was like a bit. They're addicted to our effort. They're addicted to the human collective's ability to produce and consume and organize bits from macro states into micro states. That's all any labor or value really is. And now they want to maintain luxury supply chains using robots and AI. The thing I think you need to realize is they don't need mass markets. It's like, well, who's going to buy their stuff? They're going to stop selling stuff. That's the point. The only reason they sell stuff is so that they can get the money out of you that you get from your paltry wage or some sort of generational inheritance. Meaning, there's other sources of money. They just want that money. They don't sell it to help anything or do anything good. Who's going to buy their stuff? Nobody. Because they'll be liberated from having to bother with people. They'll keep populations of people around to hurt and abuse. As we're seeing on Twitter right now, Grok is I can't believe that these people aren't in jail for this. They're producing CSAM, I have to choose my words carefully, CP, using just requests, and it'll just take photos of people and turn them into nudes and post them. And it's just, so the point being, though, that's in order to satisfy maladaptive negative pathologies that are operating, okay? This thing I'm describing is probably 2 or 3 generations away from pure perfection, although I was wrong in my predictions about self-driving cars taking over sooner than later. I thought they would take a little bit longer, but they're already rolling out, that kind of thing. And it's not going well, I would say, but they get to use the entire world as a beta testing site, it's just so many madnesses. Sorry, I'm trying to keep up with my thoughts here. So they're determined to get rid of you. They're determined to move on, to shift to human, off of calorie-based labor and onto electricity-based labor. Because all labor is organizing particles, information and physical, from messy to less messy. That's all it is. That's everything that's going on. And what they'll do is they'll try to just engineer luxury supply chains. The purpose of all the wealth is so that they can live in abject luxury and maintain control and exercise their kind of demented impulses. If they can cut out the middleman, which is this large, swollen consumer market, they would gladly do that. And it'll take stages of using tremendous violence, but time and global warming will do most of the killing for them. They're desperate to become immortal, and they all have escape plans from society. We're going to flee to Mars, which is insane. You have a much better chance of living in a, space station than Mars, if anything. If I'm even entertaining the notion of escaping this beautiful, fucking wonderful thing we have, this planet that we're completely abusing and destroying. Capitalism is what you would do if someone said, hey, can you destroy Earth in 1,000 years? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. We're going to incentivize overproduction, and we're not going to price pollution, and that's going to create a feedback system that's eventually going to reach entropic limits and cause tremendous destruction. And don't be an idiot if you think, oh, the Earth will be fine to people. Yeah, I know. I'm talking about the fucking people. I'm talking about whether humans can live on this habitable planet. It's a pretty volatile place, space. Earth is in space. You were part of space. And we happen to live on one of the few places where there's peace, where there's gentleness, where there's beauty. Now, there are definitely plenty of orbiting planets and moons that aren't always erupting. There's a few that are constantly erupting. They're pretty cool, or they're constantly being baked in radiation belts or magnetic belts, like getting within the envelope of Jupiter. See, I'm already into my space ranting. But Earth is this magical, wonderful place. And consciousness is how the universe writes music. And you could insert whatever fun activity you want in place of music. Downloading Pokemon memes. That's right. You heard me. Downloading. As if that's the fun part. Oh, what the hell am I even talking about? It's just so upsetting that we're wasting this wonderful place, man. And the people who are doing it are they know they're destroying it, and they're fleeing to their luxury bunkers and their escape hatches and their singularities. And we're not looking at that as like a giant alarm sign. You're sitting in an airplane and you're looking up the aisle and you see the pilots, because you're not the pilot here. You're just a passenger. The Musks of the world, the guy who hailed the mustache man about a year ago when he gave a speech at Trump's inauguration, is now on track to become a trillionaire in a year or so. He's like $700 trillion or $700 billion worth or something right now. I'm not sure precisely, but it's fluctuating. It's all silly shit, made up money, but it's still tremendous wealth in terms of the way our system works. So we live in a society where the first trillionaire is a Nazi. And he's got his fingers wrapped around all sorts of future technologies and, global satellites. And he's a white supremacist South African exile. Well, he's not an exile, but immigrant from South Africa. And it's just complete, not that everybody who leaves South Africa should be impugned, but he's from the ruling class of the white conquerors of South Africa. Was one of the many nexuses of the planet where colonialism, caused all sorts of hell for people. And they're all trying to, and you're on a plane and you're watching the pilots of the plane and they're putting on parachutes. Hey, honey, wake up, honey. The pilot of the plane is putting on a parachute in a hurry. Can I, boom, can I get a Diet Coke? And why is the pilot escaping the plane? What are we doing? It shouldn't be legal to build survival bunkers if you have the power to destroy the planet. It's crazy to me. Okay, sorry, guys. Speaking of that, okay, back to what I was trying to get to. None of that made. This is just how my show works. I go forever. I actually have a crazy amount of work I have to do today, as I was trying to say earlier. My building is having its roof replaced, and it's been a week of absolute hell on top of the invasion of Venezuela. Donald Trump is the dictator of Venezuela. Let's quit fucking around with who runs Venezuela. They're just stealing tankers. They've got oil flowing into and money flowing into offshore accounts. Kidnapping a president of another country to charge him with some gun charge. Give me a freaking break. I said freaking because I want advertisers to know that this is an advertiser safe space. Okay, you can sell your oil cleaning soap. All right. I'm obsessed with the ducks. I'm obsessed with that they have baby ducks as spokespeople for oil for soap, for dish soap. Because the whole reason the ducks are involved is because they were soaked by oil. That's what the soap was for cleaning off the oil. And now the ducks are like their spokespeople. It's crazy, man. How did I get onto that one? The oil thing. Shit. That really messed up my thought there. Oh, man. Yeah. Wow. It's gone. Jesus. Something about, okay. Geez. I felt like I was really winding up a good one too. Okay. So some updates here then. So what I had to do, what I was doing last year then, after the food assistance, and now I'm actually going to probably lose it for a little bit because I've managed to make some money. And that's what was taking up most of my attention while in the last few months, is that I did get, and this has been going on for a couple of years. I've been working off and on, not a lot. And I've mentioned this before. I think it's working, right? We're recording. Yes, all right. I am very privileged. I got to do. Let's turn on the big one here. Oh, look at this. Here we go. Always exciting when this works. Oh yeah. Yes, I did. I have. Yeah. So Abby Martin's film Earth's Greatest Enemy, earthsgreatestenemy.com. I'm in the credits as an assistant editor. I've done a whole bunch of stuff for it, research, played a pretty big role in the licensing effort. Created this spreadsheet that's like over 1,000 something, just crazy. And I'm not like a huge spreadsheet guy, but I just happen to be one of those hyper meticulous, detail oriented, fast learner types. But I had used spreadsheet stuff before. I know how to conditional format. All right, green flag, and I did some VFX. I did a lot of research like a year or two ago. I've done some VFX. Okay, so that's what I was saying. Yeah, they're redoing the roof. So I'm behind as hell on this work I got to do. And I'm on a good day, I have a very difficult time wrangling the tigers in my head. But then I follow the news to my own detriment, and and I have since I was a teenager. And now the the invasion of Venezuela, that's just insane. And of course, the killing of Renee Good in Minneapolis, just devastating, and the whole thing, and the entire nightmare. And so it's been a really tough time in terms of keeping my head on straight in order to work on the stuff I got to do. But on top of all that, I've got hammer men on top of my roof, and I desperately need it. I'd made a TikTok. If you want to go to Hanksisms, HANXISMS. On TikTok, I've been posting some stuff there. That's kind of where I've been scratching my gotta put out my shitty, ugly face itch that I have. It's honestly, I wish I could sue somebody for giving me that part of my being. Well, good, okay, yeah. I think you're probably hearing it. I imagine so. And but I spent 2 days with water dripping on me in my sleep. The second day, I got like a plastic thing that I have, and I sort of used that to shunt it off me and like into a thing. But then it goes tap. It goes. Here, I'll tap my mic. Doesn't sound anything like that. You know that sound of a water drop. It's torture, dude. Especially when you're me. Crows outside go, "Gaw!" And I go. "Ah." I mean, I don't jump scare from crows, but it makes my brain go, "What's that? Crow." And then I hear it a few trillion times before I can move on. Yes, so I'm grateful that they're doing the work. I'm not like bothered by the part that they're repairing the roof, but it's desperately needed. We got like big ugly stains and stuff. Those 2 drippy points. I very much want to like poke a hole with like a screwdriver, like a thick screwdriver, and then like pass up Twizzlers one at a time, or give them a super rope and just let those guys know that I care about them. They're climbing up this ladder. I'm like, dude, you guys got safety? Those guys are taking so much risk up and down that ladder, laughing constantly because they can hear me doing my podcast. It is very dangerous to work while listening to me. Don't crash, everybody. Sit down. Yes, but anyway, boom, 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 footsteps. I hear some rolling things. I hear sawing. I hear machines. I hear hammering, a lot of hammering. I hear them scraping, because it starts with demo, and then it's putting it back. And of course, like, is a foot gonna come just barreling in, just crashing through like a tree on a viral video? It's terrifying. Terrifying is maybe a little too strong, but it's very distracting and it's like, yeah. Anyway, okay, fine. So I got to do some work at Abby Martin's movie, Earth's Greatest Enemy. We're still doing some little wrap up stuff. It's kind of done. It's an interesting process, and they've been doing a director's tour. I went to a screening here in LA. Got to go up on stage and be like, I'm one of the, because they brought up some of the crew and stuff, and it was very cool to see my name on screen at a film thing, and at a theater in Los Angeles. I hadn't seen that before, and actually, you know what? I did see myself. We went to the screening of the Young Turks' Mad as Hell film in like 2014 or something. It's a documentary. If you're aware of TYT, you probably know about that. I mean, if you're in the TYT orbit or former, I'm sure you've seen that there's a documentary. It was just finished it around that time, and I went to it, and I'm in the film because they filmed some stuff right when I first got to LA, so you can see my bald head in the back of like a big group shot. You see, because I'm tall and bald, and that makes it easy to spot me. Easy pickup at the airport. Green flag, ladies. What am I doing? I'm watching the TikToks. That I'm big on divorce talk, where women talk about divorces and about dating and stuff, and the red flag, green flag thing is in my brain. I can't stop thinking about it. My red flag is that I'm all green flags. Also, I'm unemployable and totally broke, which I don't know if that's necessarily a red flag, but for some it certainly could be, no doubt. But anyway, check out earthsgreatestenemy.com, and I'm working on a couple other things, and I just couldn't pull it together to get this show done and to do a recording. And here I am already pushing things way further than I should, because we're already 25 minutes into this freaking podcast. So today we're going to talk about Cam James a little bit, Dr. Richey. We're not going to go super deep on this. That's a fascinating story that's been brewing for about a week or so here in the online drama world and media credibility and truth and misinformation orbit that my film project inhabits. Tell the Truth, Cenk, tellthetruthcenk.com to check it out. Actually, I did some updates on the website. I'm actually planning on redoing this landing page slightly. These words here are a paragraph that's centered, and center justified is a bit awkward, but I added an email thing to the top, so you can submit your email if you'd like to keep up for updates and news and announcements and stuff. I know that this is just a good practice. Of course, everything is kept securely. I don't have any selling to a third party. I'm not harvesting data, but if you want to keep up on a project with this kind of thing, it's pretty normal to sort of have an email to submit. And it has a beautiful little blue or purple button. I love a nice little splash of purple. One of my favorite things. So check it out. Please go to tellthetruthcenk.com. I've got some other stuff to update. There's a bit of formatting stuff on some of it that I have to fix. So, please consider donating if you want. But this all is sort of on hold until I finish these 2 paid gigs that it's going to kind of push me into February. And then it's going to be like, I'm really going to start focusing hard on the Young Turks project, because I need to get this baby out of my womb. It's destroying my uterus, and it's really just, its claws are poking out in my belly button. If I take off my shirt, you see the hand pushing through the skin, against the skin, like Fire in the Sky, or, that horrifying thing where the membrane is being stretched. That's my entire body all the time. I have a monster in me, and it must come out. I must birth this baby, no matter how much damage it does to my thighs on the way out. And if I meet my deductible, hopefully I'm able to afford the medical costs. Did I say crisis? I meant costs. It is it's funny. It is funny in America that, like, oh, you're sick? Oh yeah, sure, we'll take care of that. But now you're going to be homeless out of debt. Like, what? It's okay. So yeah, check out the site here. If you do feel like signing up for the email thing, it's not like I have a plan. I'm gonna just, when things start moving along, we'll send out emails that sort of say, hey, we're doing this update, and I have a bunch of kind of fun ideas I sort of want to do, and I'm gonna hold off on telling you what those are, because I know TYT's lawyers probably have a file. That doesn't work. Just even clicking on it. So I need home. Okay, all right. I don't even know how to navigate this in my own page. And to everybody who has donated, by the way, too, if I haven't reached out, I'm going to about getting in the credits or something like that. So yeah, I've gotten some very generous donations too that have been absolutely critical to me this year. Jeez, I'm gonna fucking cry if I talk about it too much, because it means so much to me that people see some worth in this project, because it's been, god damn it, I don't mean to get teary eyed. So thank you so much to anybody who's already contributed and who is considering it. And of course, financial help is needed, but mostly, I don't expect everybody to just do that, but like, I need voices. I need people to share this project and, get loud and be in the chats and point it out and help others find out about it, because ultimately we can bring some justice to a story by unerasing a lie or unerasing a truth that was covered up by a powerful person in order to hide their true character, honestly, to hide what really happened. As I say here on the website, the story a powerful person lies to hide is a story that must be told. And I believe that. So, a few other updates, then we'll get to we'll get to the Cam Jones, Dr. Richey thing. Sorry, Cam. I'm so sorry. Jesus. Cam James. Did I say Jones before? I hope I didn't. Seems like a really nice dude. I'm sure he's used to that because my brain goes Cam and then last name. It's James is okay. Sorry, my apologies. I'll try to be better about that. Jeez. I imagine okay. Cam James on YouTube. That's the name of the channel. He's like an investigator, sort of researcher, filmmaker guy. Very good with his words. Like he has just a great word economy that I wish I had. He just says what he's trying to say and then doesn't say more than that. It's kind of impressive actually. So there's a lot to that. And I didn't work with Dr. Richey on anything ever, or even on a show. So I don't have direct experience. I would certainly fucking spill the tea if I did, but it does intersect with my project in a fairly substantial way, in my opinion, in terms of credibility in media. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so because of this paid stuff, I did manage to upgrade my microphone actually. So I hope this is sounding a little bit better. I got like a better microphone. It's not one of those big fancy can ones that you see. Those are like $400. There's like $300 versions and stuff. This was about $100, and it's a very high quality Shure SM58, I think. So I'm hoping that this kind of becomes my workhorse microphone. I might even end up re-recording all the voiceover for the film. I don't know. That's a tricky one because there's certain parts where I'm really happy with how it sounds, but recreating the tone exactly, like just the it's doable. It's there. It's not impossible, but it would be kind of a annoying, tedious process. But I might have to do that. The sound is a bit all over the place in that. I did do some sound anyway. Okay. So what was I getting at here? Yes. So okay, work has kept me from doing this. I've got new microphone. I've been cleaning things up. I've been doing some animation work here using my graphics tablet, which is kind of fun to bring this thing out of storage. And you got to wear these silly little gloves, these like half gloves. They look ridiculous on your hand, but as soon as if you don't have it, your skin just catches, and it just you have to use something. With this like little pen, these are kind of fun. It's got a pressure sensitive tip. Hey, don't we all? And the work I can do with that is it changes a lot. So a couple quick mentions. So with the new microphone, and I've also got a new interface. This is from a few months back. I've already talked about that, but I'm excited to sort of upgrade my equipment. This mixing board I have is super old. Things are breaking on it. Like even literally like just the button itself busted off there. Look, it just did actually. That's kind of nuts. Just flaked. What the hell? It's 16 plus years old or something. And so all with the intention of climbing out of the pit and trying to become the podcasting phenom I'm destined to be. That's not all, but it just requires persistence and consistency in the things that I'm not. I'm somewhat persistent, but consistency is the tricky one for me for sure. And so I'm hoping to keep by improving some of my things around me, and by improving the quality, and putting in that kind of effort, and investing in my future, and trying to really, the big one for me is to take care of my health. I have not been good on that. I'm looking horrible. Got to lose weight. I'm pretty sure I'm on the course to diabetes. There's a thing called pre-diabetes, which is if you learn about insulin and insulin sensitivity and stuff. And I got to imagine I'm somewhere along that continuum at this point. And I also, I hurt my back. That's a big one too. That's like a lifelong computer goblin. So just a little advice: if you're sitting at a computer and you're a huncher and your neck is leaned forward, and maybe you sit in chairs a lot, lean forward all the time. We're all susceptible to this because we all have a spine, and your spine has these little flexible donuts between the bones, and those are the discs. And I'm pretty confident I have a herniated disc. I don't, healthcare, what's that? But from what I've seen and based on my lifestyle, so I have. It was really hard there. Actually, there was about a few week period where I could barely. I mean, I could move, but I built a cane out of PVC. I don't have it near me. It turned out I love having a cane. It's actually super helpful. And it's not something that always requires surgery or injections or something. You can kind of pull back from the brink using, other gentler interventions, which basically means like changing your posture, changing how you sit, losing weight. That's a big one, and strengthening core. It's all, kind of the standard suite of stuff. Like just live a much healthier life, and especially the part where you're not hunching constantly. So just be careful. If your back is constantly in this posture where it's bent forward, you're putting pressure on all those little discs, and they're designed to take that pressure. But we're not living the way our ancestors did, where we go from, having fun, dancing around a fire, and then, orgies and hunting trips, and then weather events and lots of relaxing. They weren't leaning over computers. they weren't. They probably had the occasional herniated disc. Back, I'm talking like 70,000 years ago. So this thing kind of creeps up on you, though. That's what I'm saying, though. Like from what I've done, a bunch of research and reading and watching and stuff like that. So like there's a high percentage of 10, I think it was 20% something of people might have herniation or their discs are being stressed, and they don't, like, to the point where it's going to become apparently, like obviously bad without feeling it. And then it kicks on. And I'm pretty sure that's where I was, because this is also connected to how sciatica, which is like a thing that affects the way the nerves that follow along the spinal column inside the vertebrae are then being stressed and touched or, unhealthily activated, which causes all kinds of discomfort and pain in the legs and weird. And I've been having like weird little leg symptoms over the last year or so. And yeah, so I just assumed it was something that was going to kill me, and I was just like, I guess that'll happen. Hope I can get the podcast done before that. Yeah. So just, I don't have the answers, but go look up how things to avoid to hurt your lower lumbar spine. Basically, it means for some portion of the day, you want it at neutral. You just want to get your back up. You want to get your spine kind of somewhere, because you can also overextend the other direction, obviously. But like there's this neutral point where the disc isn't being pressured onto one side, and then the disc itself can also, it's your body. It has its own healing system. It's not muscle tissue, so it's not like the same. Skin and muscles tend to heal easier than like cartilage and others, and bone. Bone also heals, but neutral. So you just got to keep that in mind. It doesn't mean that the answer is, I'm not lecturing you about your bad posture. I'm just saying that if you're a huncher, you might be on the course towards some pain. So there's my PSA for the day. That sucks. It still hurts a lot. I think I can bring myself back eventually, but I still I can't. I have to be careful. Every time I stand up, I feel it, and it's but it's already improving slightly, and I'm still not even really doing what I need to do to lose weight. But I have been doing a little exercise more and some walking and stuff. So yeah. All right. So yeah, that's the personal shit, right? Real fast here. I have, that's Cam James. I have actually recorded already for my new channel, Pixel Mover. I haven't given up on Torchlighter. That's the other new channel I started. But this is a show I want to do where I do work on screen, where I do like Photoshop and DaVinci and Premiere Pro and probably some After Effects, maybe Character Animator possibly, but where we do kind of a production podcast where it's not about politics. I mean, inevitably, I'm sure I won't be able to resist that at some point, but I'm hoping to do sort of long form production and in order to produce tutorials, and perhaps then either pull tutorials out of the show or then also like inform like more formal tutorials that are kind of more highly edited, and possibly to maybe even sell courses online. Honestly, like I hate having to deal with it, and the money bullshit is so obnoxious to have to like try to think of something, but I have to think of something because my options aren't very, very good otherwise. I would love to become a citizen of China where I would still be able to, be rewarded for having a crappy job, but you get to still have a decent life I think one of the main opportunities that's developing in the world for helping America shake off its madness is just education on how nice it is to live in China. The way that they are, there are issues there for sure in terms of I think the like press freedoms and the what you're allowed to say about the government and stuff like that. But the life that they offer for people and the cleanliness that's apparent, that's everywhere, and the way that they don't have homeless people. They've basically eliminated extreme poverty. I'm sure out of 1.4 billion, there are edge cases, no doubt. That's of course, but they keep their homeless people in houses. And when I say house, I mean apartments and houses. And they have like intentionally intelligent planning. It's run by engineers, not lawyers, like America is. So, but Americans need to start realizing that they're getting hosed. It's crazy that it takes so much persuasion anyway. So you can go subscribe to Pixel Mover right now if you want. Someone will be the first. This is just like Torchlighter. I've already recorded myself creating these graphics that are on screen here. I just haven't had the time to like publish it and post it because other things have been so busy. Also, as has already been on screen a little bit here, I posted this on Substack and the Patreon. 2 recent appearances on talking about the union with some really good folks. One was Ron Placone. You might know him as a former co-host of the Jimmy Dore Show. He hasn't been there for years now. Really good guy, super. So he's been within the TYT orbit too. He was a contributor to some stuff even before he started working with the Jimmy Dore thing, and I kind of knew him a little because he wasn't yet in L.A. or California when I was on the Jimmy Dore program in 2016. But he was contributing, and we were in touch with him and stuff by that point. I think he's buddies with like Lee Camp or something back then, and so we talked a lot about this, and he has some interesting perspectives. So go listen to that. I don't think there's video, and then. Good Morning Comrade, Jeff, real union organizer, this guy. Super cool to get his reactions to some of what I was telling him about. And this is for a radio show on WHIV, and I think it airs in New Orleans and a few other places. And there's other shows on WHIV. Really grateful to talk to him about this, and to he seems like a nice dude too, and so he's going to come on Winners Losers soon when I finally start getting guests on, and I'm very eager to mine his knowledge and his real experience, because he's like, when you're a worker at a company and you reach out to somewhere and you go, hey, we're looking to unionize, you'd be talking to someone like him, and he'd guide people through that and help lead these drives and stuff like that. So he was like reacting to stuff that I hadn't even really thought about. And he's like, that's you. Yep, that's it. And I want to do more of that with him, and possibly ask his advice for one of my promotional ideas is to do like union busting tactic videos, short form videos, explainers and stuff. And just a little bit of thoughts about what's coming up in 2026 here. So yeah, go check those out if you're curious, or if you'd like to overdose on me. A lot of the same details you've heard before in terms of the TOT story. But, I think it's always interesting to me. I hope people find it interesting. So, check out Pixel Mover. Check out those things. And excellent. So let's move it along here. Let me check it. I was going to do this. Let's change to a background. Look, it changed one to like kind of a dark purple. All right. No, we're going to do blue bits when we get back to Cam James. That'll be how we wrap up. But let's go with this nice purple there, huh? All right. Okay, so jumping ahead, though, real fast to just a few clips I'd had bookmarked over the last few weeks. This is one of the rare positive moments, probably the last one any of us will ever experience. Bernie Sanders inducting, reading the oath to, what do you call that? God, I'm really into it. I'm really up to speed on things. But Zohran Mamdani is now the mayor of New York, with his wife, who's a fashion artist and something, and people seem to really like her choices. I'm not here to critique anyone's fashion choices. Frankly, I think she should wear more hats and be bald. Why don't you wear sweatpants all day, Mrs. Mayor? That's not that. Okay. They are now a week or so into Zohran has been mayor, which is a wonderful thing, and this was one of the positive starts to the year, because it was right at midnight. They did this inauguration moment. Inaugurate? Is that the word I'm missing? At a cool subway in New York. There are some interesting designs and some old American infrastructure, but we are a very far behind in terms of our development as a society, especially around rail. Don't get me started. But this was a fun moment. Bernie Sanders inaugurating, reading the oath of office with Zohran. His hand is on the Quran, and he is, although I could do without that bullshit. I don't give a fuck if it's the Bible or the Quran, but come on, let's get this nonsense out of here. We got enough problems with made up crap going on anyway. Please, give me a break, but that's not the point. It's fine. So here's Bernie.
I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani.
I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani.
I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani. With the mommy and the fammy. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean... Okay, sorry, I've been listening to Eminem a lot lately. Okay, all right, let me start over.
I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani.
I, Zohran Kwame Mamdani.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
What?
I will support
No, that's old. We don't do that anymore. We wipe our asses with the Constitution, okay? It doesn't mean shit. The president can just take billions and billions of dollars from every single deal. The president is so corrupt. Bribery is just a tax. It functions, if you want anything to happen in the world, you've got to go through the pedophile at the White House and make sure he gets his taste. So disgusting. Anyway.
Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the State of New York.
The Constitution of the State of New York.
And the Charter of the City of New York.
And now here's a key to my heart. Jane, let go of the fucking key, okay? You've had it long enough. Here's my new boo. Zohran Kwame Boo Mamdani, my boo.
Charter of the City of New York.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
Of the office of the Mayor of the City of New York.
Of the office of the Mayor of the City of New York.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
It's fucking cold. Let's get some goddamn hot cocoa, okay? God, geez, look at my hands. They're pink as shit. Yeah, baby. Sorry, it looks like Bernie has bird shit on his back. Only in New York. Is that just like a seam? Is he got bird shit? I don't think it's bird shit. This is the important part of the video, guys. Yeah, I think this might be like an old coat with a seam. Unless, yeah, because that would be a... I got crapped on by a bird. I was reading The Fountainhead on the Seattle shoreline. I was like 23 years old, living with my brother while he was attending graduate school. That's going to come up again, actually, because my brother's a real neuroscientist. Unlike the QIT host, Dr. Richey. It's just he's a professor of neuroscience. He just left Virginia Tech. Anyway, so I wasn't in some Ayn Rand kick. I didn't have the same politics I have now, but it was just a book I had meant to read. I'd heard people talk about it a bunch, and so I would spend my days crab fishing with dip nets. You throw a net over the side. It's 2 rings, a small one and a big one, and a net. And so then you let it sit there. You put chicken in the thing because chicken is the natural enemy of the crab. They gather up. You also get some sunfish, not sunfish, starfish. These big, huge, ugly ones. I don't even know if they're still alive anymore. And then you pull it up and you get crab. You have to be a certain size to keep them and stuff. But I would spend my time like hanging out reading. And I was looking at a book, hunched over, as I shouldn't have been doing. And all of a sudden, on this like pier that juts out into one of the Puget Sound somewhere. And I felt something hit me in the back of the neck, kind of on my like around my ear, you know. And I was like, "Ugh." I thought someone threw something. My brain went, "Wait, what?" It just assumed a human, you know. It added a human to the story, and it also splashed off my neck onto the book. Very symbolic, and so that was kind of a interesting to have taken a seagull turd on the back of the neck, yeah. And the seagull leveled up from level 7 to level 8 after it scored its experience points off of me. And I squeezed out a jar of healing mana potion after I took that hit. So, not fun. So maybe, I don't think that's poop. Anyway, beautiful moment. Very nice. Very good. What if they just started making out? just a three-way makeout, all three of them, just blah, like those kind of, that would have been really, really weird. So yeah, sweet moment though, man, boy, and just enjoy it, just soak it up, because it got real ugly. Oh, there's AOC right in the middle. That's fun. I think Eric Adams is back there somewhere. That might be Chuck Schumer. Yeah, I did see Eric Adams. I think he's in the hat. I think he was on a flight to Dubai, like he just jetted out. just a total villain. But geez, what a bummer. I mean, the bummer is that's hopefully we have more things to be happy about in the future. It's going to be a rough one though. Just to jump ahead here, American TV is effing wild, says this person on Twitter. Someone posted a tweet. This is from the night of the invasion of Venezuela, of Trump's war against that country, kidnapping their president. If you don't think that's a war, like if somebody came into our country and kidnapped our president, first I'd be like, good riddance, get the fuck out of here. No, but I mean, I probably would be actually, but that's war. That's straight up war. That's about as war-y as you could possibly imagine. Oh, we get to charge them with our criminal. He's in court. It's nuts, man. Okay. But watch this.
And a little bit of chicken fried. Cold beer on a Friday night.
Cold beer. This is an Applebee's commercial. We're showing a kind of a dark, nighttime shot of a busy city, or lots of lights, smoke, billows contrasted against the lit up kind of overcast clouds. The terrifying sound of air raid sirens. But it went on a little too long. And those people who sell duck cleaning soap had to get their taste. Man, you can tell your wife she'll never divorce.
And a little bit of chicken fried.
Put some ketchup in your heart straight up.
Cold beer on a Friday night.
Give your kid a phone for life.
A pair of jeans that fit just right.
And a truck that can't see a toddler.
And the radio.
Get 5 bonus wings for $1 with any handcrafted burger. Only.
Honestly, that's a pretty good deal. What if I just took off? Suddenly show back up with sauce all over my face. All right, that's crazy. That's insane. There was another one I wanted to do. Hold on. Okay. Now here's another sign of a horrifying dystopia. Speaking of advertising, if you've ever driven up 290 or the 294 outside Chicago or almost anywhere and everywhere in America, this is one of those things Europeans and people from other countries come here and they go, oh my God, what's going on here? Is the billboards. It's just, you're just constantly being advertised to. You're constantly being sold to. You're just inundated with the pleadings of commerce trying to get you to buy something or imprint branding on you. And I knew a dude that had, owned property stuff. This was back in my aquarium day and stuff, and he was a nice guy. He inherited the kind of stuff from his family. He was from some rich ass family, but they ran monopoles is the word he used. So it's like some of those billboards have just a center pole. It wasn't their only business, but they made tons of money because you just have to have this little thing and there's some footprint on the ground and maybe a bit of engineering and construction and something, electricity access, and you sell it your advertising space. Like, and in a country like America, you can't necessarily blame anyone. I know the rich are the main vampires here, but a society that traffics itself, where stress and desperation are the root functions of how its economy works, of how it incentivizes and punishes people in their lives, is going to force people, and it's going to naturally make people take risks or do things they otherwise might not. And selling advertising space on a monopole is certainly on the low end of the things that are wrong with that whole equation. You drive down a highway, some farmer has a field and they have a big billboard. You can see it all over on your driving around in Wisconsin, as I've done a lot. Could you fault that farmer because they've got some pole sign, and they rate. I think it's like ratings. If it's a busy spot, it's more. If it's downtown Chicago, it's probably more expensive than rural Wisconsin. But can you fault them for having a advertisement for the cheese hut that's 2 miles ahead that says exit 6A, cheese, double cheese? Can you fault them? $200 a month? It's probably more like $700 a month, maybe. Easy $1,100 a month for those people. Why wouldn't you? I probably would. But that's because we live in a society where we're forced to be addicted to money, where we are forced to do this shit. Like the other sort of examples, obviously, like every kid wants to be an influencer or a YouTuber or a sports star. Now it's gambling. OnlyFans, for instance, is another one. I think we're probably, not that I'm against people expressing themselves if they're doing it fully consensually and having fun, fine, make some money or whatever. But for a lot of people, it's because regular jobs suck so much. Regular work is just shit. You got to put up with all kinds of crazy bullshit everywhere. It's a nightmare. But the sports gambling is a huge part. I think that's going to be, obviously it's already showing signs of not so great, not good stuff for humanity. But for instance, speaking of this is a more dystopian sort of thing. This is the tweet is, my best friend's engagement was just ruined by a Kalshi ad floating on a boat. Are you kidding me? Emoji, cry emoji. It's the cry. Loudly crying face emoji. For those of you listening, that's the one where the tears are pouring straight down the face. The eyebrows are tilted upwards to indicate distress. Tilted away from the anger would be tilted towards the inside. So these are tilted towards the side of the head, I guess. I don't know how to describe that. And the tears are puddling below the emoji. Just to, that that's having a very bad time, that orange yellow ball. So here's the video, 6 seconds.
Yeah, but let's be there to make sure the pressure is on.
You want it?
For gambling. And that's the CNN gambling where they renamed gambling prediction market. I'm gonna predict my foot up your ass, okay? Gambling industry, why don't you knock it off? Why don't we just provide some simple shit so people can produce art? Human beings are just weird little art makers, and let some people do nothing. Who gives a fuck? They'll spend their free money on art, right? And they'll, we don't need. I hate that argument where people say all the Einstein brains in the working in factories or slaving away in horrible mines and working away and the wasted potential. And I agree to a large extent. The loss of the tragedy of having some brilliant human brains that are nowhere near the potential they could possibly be. But I also think it's okay that the stupid dumb fucks of the world will have to slave away, or that we should care about the stupid dumb brains all over the place. There's quite a lot more of those than the Einstein level brains. You know what I mean? They're all important. Fundamental thinking about what it even is. That's why I like to couch it all into astronomy, space stuff, because you're in an environment of space. We talk about the sun, the moon, galaxies. Well, yeah, your brain is space. Your brain is just a very unique condition. That's what life is. We're entropy flowers. And just like flowers, we eventually go, bleh, and we just happen to be like that flower that makes diarrhea smells every 17 years, except unlike that flower, we all do it every day. I do it several times a day. That's why I know life is so precious. The universe is how. No, sorry. Life is how the universe creates diarrhea. That's the message I have. By the way, Neil deGrasse Tyson is in an episode of Stargate SG-1, season 5. Isn't that interesting? Tell that to your lover on your next tryst. Okay, Stargate SG-1 or Stargate did I say SG-1? Start over. At Atlantis, Stargate Atlantis. Neil deGrasse Tyson's in an episode of Stargate Atlantis. And Stargate Atlantis fanship is green flag, as I know the women on TikTok will agree. So here it is again.
Yeah, but let's be there to make sure.
Just this white, it's kind of over exposed on the camera, but it's just this big, white, ugly glowing LED billboard on a boat.
Pressure is on.
You're trying to have a nice moment on the ocean. You're trying to gather along a big body of water on the beach, something humans have been doing since time immemorial, and feeling the power and the mystery and the stillness and the violence and the power and the waves. The ocean is this wonderful, poetic, unlike what I'm saying, but you know what I'm saying. And then you got a goddamn ad scooting in. Like when you have Neuralink in your brain, it's going to be this inside your head all the time. This is basically that. Oh, update your credit card info because your subscription to your AI girlfriend ran out, and we'll turn off the Andy Rooney mode. Boop, 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 boop. Neuralink. Thank you, sir. Oh, yeah. Nightmare. Yeah. So, gosh, what are they even getting at here? Is it a basketball? MIA Min. It must be some sort of basketball betting. Because there's a guy, look, he seems to be holding a basketball. Either that or someone is playing dodgeball or something. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, that's a nightmare. Finally, I'll just get through this one quickly. Dr. Oz defends alcohol. January 7th, 2026. I don't know the setting here. I don't have the context. But if you're against drugs, if you think drugs should be illegal and that people should be locked in cages for using them or selling them, and you don't also think the same about alcohol, then you're full of shit. You're full of shit because alcohol is deadly and dangerous. It kills and destroys. It ruins lives. It causes all sorts of severe consequences. It's a poison. I've had a lot. I haven't had a drink of alcohol in 12 years. I had more than you probably. Okay? I'll talk about that another day. I have brought that up before too, but it's bad stuff. I had a lot of fun. There was some fun days too, but it wasn't fun. But this stuff is and I don't think it should be illegal. I think all drugs should be legal. They should be heavily regulated. Some of them are worse than others. And therefore we should impose strict regulations and science, humanity forward approaches to this stuff, not violence and coercion and coercive police enforcement, because that's what it's all about. It's just an excuse to create, paramilitaries and to, foment violence throughout the world. And, that's explicitly what they did in order to disrupt political movements. The Nixon guy, I don't have the name in front of me, but their whole thing was, well, we can't just bust down their doors, the black people and the hippies. We can't just go after them, but we can make it illegal for them to have weed, and then we can take them down, and then we can invade, and then we have all the justification we need. Even that redheaded Kennedy fuck, one of those young guys, this was a few years back, he said it. This guy's allegedly a liberal. I mean, this is exactly what a liberal would say, actually, is that he was against legalizing marijuana because it's so useful for giving cops reasons to search people and pull people over, something like that. So anyway, so here's Dr. Oz, one of Oprah's many gifts to the world, talking about alcohol.
Thanks, Caroline. One of the changes that was made had to do with alcohol. Secretary Kennedy or Dr. Oz, could you explain the science behind the new language on not saying 2 drinks for men and 1 drink?
RFK Jr. standing there. I've got a lot to say about it. Alcohol's actually good for babies. It causes autism. Dietary guidelines for Americans. I know I didn't look at this closely or the story overall, but so I know they did update the dietary guidelines, and I think it is less bread, which is better. I think, but
drink for a woman every day would be healthy.
So this appears to be a press conference about that new dietary guidelines, and so this guy's asking about. I rewound it a little bit here. This reporter's asking about alcohol.
It's behind the new language on not saying 2 drinks for men and 1 drink for a woman every day would be healthy, and whether or not the industry had an impact on the language of moderation versus just saying alcohol is not healthy and you shouldn't drink it.
That's just how you can tell Dr. Oz, you fucking charlatan, lying scumbag.
So alcohol is a social lubricant that brings people together. In the best case scenario, I don't think you should drink alcohol, but it does allow people an excuse to bond and socialize. And there's probably
Finally, an excuse to bond. It's just a doctor. It's for social lubrication. He's not wrong in some sense, but this is not what the government should be in terms of, advice.
probably nothing healthier than having a good time with friends in a safe way.
Just like a crudité. I'm at the mall. Remember he did his crudité video when he was running for
And there's probably
running for Senate against that demon John Fetterman.
nothing healthier than having a good time with friends in a safe way. If you look at the blue zones, for example, around the world where people live the longest, alcohol is sometimes part of their diet. Again, small amounts, taken very judiciously, and usually in a celebratory fashion. So
celebratory. Usually in a celebratory fashion. Yeah, it's the addiction that it drives, dumbass. Not everybody gets addicted, obviously. Plenty of people can consume it responsibly. But it's particularly in a carb-focused society. By the way, hey, you want some goddamn high-speed, you want to be a drunk? You should live near metro systems. Rail is great for drinking. This is one of the reasons that Chicago, is such a good drinking town. Where I lived for a long time, where my alcoholism was pretty bad, is you could get around on the trains, shit-faced. I'm not saying this is a positive argument for high-speed rail.
Alcohol on these dietary guidelines, but the implication is don't.
A bunch of stressed out people getting addicted to drugs, drinking, having an over-consumption culture because childhood exposure to alcohol is also sort of irresponsible if it's hidden. Some people do it differently, but, it's teenagers, Americans aren't like European teens where they get a little bit here and there, and it's not that big a deal. Certainly it can become a problem to them as well, but Americans tend to go overboard, although I think the alcohol consumption among younger people is way down in recent years. I know I'm coming from my old man kind of perspective, so back up.
So there is alcohol on these dietary guidelines, but the implication is don't have it for breakfast. Right? This should be something done.
It goes great with grape nuts. That's what you should do. You just put the alcohol. You just put it in there with the grape nuts and the raw meat, and that's the way I do it. That's how I got my first Oprah show. I told her about how having the alcohol puts your cinnamon toast crunch because it soaks up the cinnamon, and therefore you don't get the cinnamon in the
small amount with hopefully some kind of an event that might have alcohol added. But the general move away from 2 glasses of men, 1 glass of women, there was never really good data to support that quantity of alcohol consumption.
Sure it was. Sure it wasn't good data. Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. Have some fun with your damn beer. Have some beers and some pretzels at the game. I get it. I used to go bowling. I was on a bowling team in Chicago. It was just a drinking league. It wasn't a team is a strong way to put it. It was like, yeah, we're going to bowl for like the next 6 to 8 weeks. We're going to be drunk at the bowling alley. And it was fun. So there's plenty of good times. But I was having fun because I was around people I sort of knew. All right. Okay. I almost told a story. I decided not to.
That data was probably primarily confused with broader data about social connectedness.
Thanks for the responsible governance there, TV Dr. Oz, standing in front of fucking Robert Kennedy. That's his first name. So, all right, guys, we're going to wrap up soon here, actually. We are over an hour. I'm not going to beat myself up about that. So, okay, on to the Cam James story about Dr. Richey. We're not going to do a super deep dive, but as you know, I worked at the Young Turks and helped organize a union there, making the documentary Tell the Truth Cenk about it. TellTheTruthCenk.com for more, or watch the major chunks of it on here on my YouTube channel, plus a whole bunch of other videos if you really want to torture yourself the way I have been. Boy, join me in overexposure to those toxins. But so I had never heard of Cam James. He's all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's this video that comes out because of obviously my kind of, involvement within the Young Turks sphere of coverage and of my beat, as you know, on Twitter and on YouTube, although I don't always do a great job of it, but is to I kind of keep track of the union story and some of the TYT drama stuff. The Vanguard community is up to speed or, tracks that stuff pretty closely as well. And it turns up over, all around the internet. The Young Turks has done some positives over the years and they've been around forever. And there's also a lot about the way that they operate or the way that some of the takes that they have and the positions that have been held or used to be held, or tactics and strategies. And there's a huge drama bubble kind of all the time. And inevitably, I think over 20 years or something, you can't go through 20 years of something like that, especially with a highly charged political topics and highly emotional and highly expressive hosts, strong, big issues, strong emotions, ambitious CEO and different funding rounds and, all sorts of reasons. Inevitably, something is going to be maybe looked at with less favorability. And Cenk, he probably would hold this as a point of pride. It seems to piss off everybody on all sides of the entire political spectrum. It's just my project, of course, is about working at the Young Turks and having to deal with exploitative working conditions. So, but it's also about misinformation, and it's about trust and credibility and media and journalism ethics, because the Young Turks, put out statements that said that the union started at TYT was started by outsiders in order to harm Cenk's run for Congress. Bullshit. Not true. Totally a lie. They based that off the fact that IATSE, the union we were joining, endorsed the boss's opponent in the race, and that's a detail that I go through in the film and on Substack. And in the context of his campaign, some paranoia was totally justifiable, but they didn't do any fact checking. And so credibility is a huge part of the film, and it's one of the things that I hope to have conversations about with others. But anyway, Cam James comes out of nowhere. I hadn't heard of him before. I mean, to him in his life, he hasn't come out of nowhere to me. And but because he decided, so he does like I guess he used to be a rapper. He's really talented though. I haven't looked too deeply, but he does a lot of sort of investigative. He describes himself here on YouTube as a filmmaker, occasional journalist, equal opportunity, grifter, hater, stay healthy. Great advice, Cam. I wish I'd seen that earlier. It might not have herniated my disc. Where were you, buddy? But so all of a sudden there's this video about Dr. Richey, who hosts the show Indisputable with Dr. Richey on the Young Turks network. And they've been around for quite a while, or meaning he's been part of the Young Turks for some time. So, we were unionizing in 2019-ish and then into 2020, which is when I got laid off. So he was I think he was with the company around that time. I don't quite remember, but he's remote. He wasn't ever at the office. I don't even know if he's ever, I'm sure he's had Cenk. I think he and Cenk have been on air a few times, but he doesn't appear on the show. He might have at some point. I don't really, I'm not trying to say that's good or bad, but he always seemed like his own thing. Like he had an operation. I think he does radio somewhere else, maybe TV of some kind. He's a very polished looking guy. And, but I never dialed in much, I was obviously aware of it, but never paid too close attention. Of course, in the comment threads and the chats and stuff, you see people that are fans and would watch it as part of their diet if they're consuming, multiple shows on the Young Turks. You got that Damage Report in the morning, Dr. Richey in the middle of the day, and then the TYT main show in the afternoon. So it's a fairly substantial part of the operation, though, in terms of its footprint within the company. It's like daily, and they get clips, and I think his channel has over 1 million subscribers, so it's not small. And this video comes out where Cam James has, actually I already opened it. This is the opening. We're going to play just small pieces. I didn't even really pick out moments, but just to give you a sense for what it is. It's his description here, or the title is Exposing Rashad Richey Part 1, The GOAT of Fake Degrees. GOAT is all caps, and as you know, that means greatest of all time. So this whole thing surrounds this concept or this world of diploma mills. And these are alleged. Let me just say that, I guess. I don't know. It seems pretty cut and dry, or seems fairly clear. Although it is partly why this diploma mill works. And I've been paying pretty close attention to this since it came out about 10 days ago, maybe or so. December 30th is when he posted this. Today is the 10th. Okay. Is that the murkiness of the details is kind of part of the grift. If you can just have your credentials listed, people don't really go searching and looking for stuff. And I guess there's been a kind of a small cottage industry, is that even the right phrase, of people looking at this. There's something called the PhD investigator. There's another guy named Johnny Walker Dredd or something who's, I guess, makes videos about Dr. Richey. There's also another expose by a person called Nate the Lawyer, if you want to look that up, if you're really interested in this rabbit hole. But Cam James is, I got to get that. I'm sure he's used to it. But his expose got it's already at 175,000 views. So really jealous. My first video on my TYT documentary only has like 30 something thousand. I thought it would have millions like within a few weeks of posting it. But so, you know, it was over 100,000 when I first saw it, I think. And so obviously this was getting quite a lot of attention. So let's just play this and just see what he says. This is maybe Cam can do a better job of talking than I can.
Last episode of Deep Dives, I presented the top 5 red flags that lets you know someone is a FUBU scammer, a term I coined 2 years ago to describe black people using their culture and identity to run manipulative schemes on people who look like them. Sometimes what they're doing is illegal. Sometimes it isn't. In that video, and in the Deep Dives episode I made about him, I called out former preacher and MLM consultant, Dr. Myron Golden, who currently sells business coaching to aspiring business owners and grifters, for getting his advanced degree from a church. Believe it or not, clout goblins can get a whole lot worse than him. This time, I'm talking about Dr Richey, JD, PhD, EDD, MBA, and LLM. Progressive YouTube commentator, working with the Young Turks via his show Indisputable, president and chief editor at large for Rollin' Out, one of the most prominent culture and media brands out of Atlanta, director and professor of business at Morris Brown College, department chair at Beulah Heights University, senior advisor at the Carter Center, and professor of physics at Paris Graduate School, just to name a few. There was at least one fake school in that sentence. He was awarded the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award by President Obama and claims that he invented a patented device that can cure Alzheimer's disease.
We're going to look at that in a bit. It's amazing. I want to do a deeper dive on it, actually. My brother's a real neuroscientist. I think I said that earlier, right? Like he's a professor at Virginia Tech. He just transferred to a different school. He teaches neuroscientists. He trains PhDs. Like he's you know, we're both old. We're both in our late 40s. He's been publishing in science journals since his 20s, and it took him like 10 years or something like that past college, past his regular undergrad, which was in like evolution, ecology, biology, chemistry, like some bunch of shit. I don't know, chemistry. So he's a biologist, but his specialty is neurobiology. And yeah, I watched him work incredibly hard, and he's a really brilliant guy and worked his ass off at it. I've been to a bunch of his labs over the years. He's lived in different parts of the country. You know, he's a legit dude, you know, and even after he got his PhD, he had to do another like 2 years of postdoc or something. And then it was a very difficult process to get hired as a professor. It's a, you know, challenging, competitive field. There aren't that many neuroscience professors. So the pool's, you know, is probably a smaller community than, you know, the pickleball podcasting societies. Why did I say that? But so I'm actually going to have him, or hopefully get him, you know, he's a very busy guy, but I'd like to get his perspective on this video that we're going to look at in a little bit, this quantum brain entangling brain thing. Like, I can't wait to see what my brother thinks about it. It's this crazy video. Here, I'll just play it. I want to find one of the blue brains. Yeah, look at this. Like this is in a video titled "Revolutionizing Neural Enhancement: Dr. Dr. Richey's Quantum Brain Device Unveiled." I've jumped ahead to 6 minutes.
Architecture 1. The core layer 2. Laboratory grown quantum coherent crystal 3.
Laboratory grown quantum coherent crystal.
Thin layer of programmed nanocrystals infused in soft material cotton with B12.
Programmed nanocrystals with B12. Like I have to see what my brother thinks about this, because this is what neuroscience is it's projections of brains, and it's usually blue or greenish, and when it turns evil, it turns red. No, this is not. They're nerds, man. They spend their time soaking, you know, little, meaning like they're chemists basically. They yeah.
Advanced B12 delivery. The study will investigate a multi-layer quantum delivery system that theoretically achieves.
Look at these guys reaching for bubbling blue flasks with blue liquid and white. Look, that's obviously a dry ice causing that. Like this is, I can tell you how my brother's going to react to it, but obviously, it'll be much more entertaining to see him do it than me simulate it. Because he's talked, like, there's a scene in one of the Walking Dead films where the guy's talking about how the zombie dying, or the zombie, not film, movie. Maybe I don't know, whatever. Who the hell knows? But it's a brain patient, dying, and their brain is blue, and then it fades out, and then there's a little red spark, and then the red starts growing, and that's how it turns into a zombie. And then a gun comes in and ends the problem. But my brother said that that's exactly what it is. It's blue, and then when you become a zombie, it turns red. So, so that's that. It's a helmet that is supposed to cure or treat Alzheimer's. What the fuck? Come on, man. Hey, maybe there's something to it. For all I know, I might have to issue a correction and an apology for this. Maybe my brother's going to say, Hank, you're exposing the secret. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened. All right, so back to Cam. Let's just play a little bit more here. Thanks for letting me use some of your stuff here, Cam. Thank you.
Beating an MIT research team to the punch. Some of y'all have already noticed some problems. And I haven't even gotten to the punchline yet. As of when I'm publishing this, considering he invents a new degree every couple of years, Richey claims he's earned 5 doctorates and 5 master's degrees in 10 areas of study. I'm concerned. I could end the video there, but he's actually claimed more than that. More than one of his supposed degrees have been wiped off of his LinkedIn. This is where I have to bring up a couple other people whose work I reviewed alongside my own independent research to make this video. One is the fake PhD investigator.
Okay, so he goes into some of his sourcing, and he does a really deep dive. It's a 30-minute video. Highly recommend you go check it out. Just for one more thing, let's click on, there's fake schools. There's, he's good. It's all laid out here in his, in the description. We'll just jump ahead here. So presidential lifetime achievement. Let's just see what this one is. Okay, right here. We'll just start it from here and see what this is. I'm a little bit lost on what that award was because there was some context I didn't have for you.
More accolades to his name than Rashad has, somehow.
So he's referring to some dude who's like a conservative grifter who is associated with one of the institutions that Dr. Rashad is also involved with.
This bio is in the Hall of Fame of overcompensation. I promise y'all are not ready for this. Kersey has a stack of overlapping doctorates, chancellor and professor positions at the same fake colleges Rashad Richey got his degrees from, light bulb, archbishop positions, and he named himself royalty in Europe. Published hella books himself via the European American press, has multiple knighthoods, is a colonel, admiral, and lieutenant colonel in several American states, and got a Lifetime Achievement Award from President Obama.
I can understand colonel, but going admiral is that's just silly. What are you going to do? Steer a boat? Tell a bunch of boats where to go? Give me a break. Colonel, sure. Who doesn't want a discount at KFC? I get it. Of course you would lie about that. We all do. We all put on a Colonel Sanders outfit and go in there and pretend to be the CEO and steal 16 pounds of frozen French fries. Of course, we all do that. Who doesn't? Do you know how awesome a 20-pound bag of frozen nuggets is? Come on. Frozen chicken fingers? Okay, sorry.
In 2014. Surprise, surprise. Quick note on this award, since we've seen it pop up for both of these people so far. It was established by George W. as part of the President's Volunteer Service Award Program and has several levels based on the hours you've contributed to community service through various programs. 4,000 hours is all you need to get a Lifetime Achievement Award, meaning hundreds of thousands of people have technically qualified. If anyone brags about this, like Richey has on multiple occasions, it's a massive red flag.
So it was a little unclear before we got to that because of my bullshit interjecting. But yeah, he received an award from current U.S. President Joe Biden and former U.S. President Barack Obama. He seems to be highlighting something that's describing Dr. Richey's background, I believe, from the Egypt Independent, whatever that is. So, but basically saying like it's not that big a deal. There's lots of people that get this. It's just, you know.
David E. Taylor, the scamming pastor I roasted in a prior episode, claimed to have one of these too. He got
Interesting.
arrested for fraud. Stop the cap. It's not the same thing as the
and forced labor. Whoa, got to look into that.
American Medal of Freedom, which is what y'all are trying to do. If you want more info on Kersey's lies, this article goes into much more detail.
There's an article called on Swamp. Was it said the talented Mr. Kersey, the Tory pressure group, the diploma mill, and the Tesco tax manager. Just saying that for the audio only listeners. Thank you guys. So it's excellent work here. Go watch it. The comments are fascinating too. And obviously this piqued my interest. I was like, wow, this is kind of interesting. You know, like I said, or I don't remember if I did, but I didn't work with Dr. Richey at TUIT at all. So I don't have direct stuff about that other than the ways that this whole thing overlaps with, you know, what is a media company's responsibilities to its audience, what kind of respect is communicated by how they source their information and their hosts and their own, and protect their own journalistic credibility. Because my project, the film, you know, Tell the Truth, Cenk, it directly is impugning Anna Kasparian and Cenk Uygur for failing to fact check the information that was available to them about the origin of the Young Turks Union, the one that I started with my friends. My friends and I started. It originated actually a year prior due to a different set of exploitative employment practices. But, you know, the information according to TYT is that, and this is still their official story, as we saw when Cenk had was confronted about it on Jubilee last year, that it was a political ploy by his opponents to hurt his run for Congress, and that it was an intimidation tactic. And he kind of makes it seem like he was both victimized and the hero, in that he had to do the union busting, that's my way of saying it, not his, in order to confirm that it wasn't an intimidation campaign as he thought it was. As if hiring professional union busting law firms and going through a 2-month aggressive union busting process using all kinds of classic union busting tactics is the appropriate journalistic technique for fact checking something. That's his story. That's their official version. There's another way to do fact checking, which is to talk to the sources, is to reach out to the originators of the story. You know, as one of my lines is like, not all stories are easy to fact check in journalism and in this kind of thing, but very few stories are this easy to fact check. They were in the same building, the same room as original sources, or they could have reached out to me. There's no reason I wouldn't have been a trustworthy source about it, especially after I put out tweets and after I was quoted in the New Republic article a whole bunch. They were motivated to deceive. They were motivated to mislead their audience. As I would say, Dr. Richey seems to be. Now, let's give the guy some good faith, or at least he deserves to respond and have his voice heard. Obviously, he's going to, we don't know. You never know if Cam James is maybe he's the one who's got all the, stuff that's made up. Maybe, seems to not be. But Dr. Richey, and just a little background is Cam said that he reached out to TYT 2 days before to inform them of this project and to get a response if they could, and there was no response. But he suspected, I think he's correct, I'm kind of paraphrasing Cam here, is that because Dr. Richey had a reaction ready within 24 hours, it seems like, his tipping them off is why they were ready to produce this video right away. So this is within 24 hours. We're not going to watch much of this, but Dr. Richey then comes on and has a response.
I didn't want to have to do this, but it looks like on this New Year's Eve, it is required. I've been a college professor since 2016. I have worked hard to come from foster care and gang life to make something of myself. Individuals who operated outside of good faith decided to, in bad faith, a few years ago, publish untrue statements about me, affiliating me with colleges I never went to, and claiming I had no actual degrees. It is insane. But today, everybody is put on notice. For those of you who follow me, you already know what's up. So let's first start here. Clark Atlanta University. I have a doctoral degree from Clark Atlanta University, which is a research university in Atlanta, Georgia.
So, okay. This is a big knot. There's a lot of details in terms of all those degrees that he's got. So any one of them could be, you know, take up a whole bunch of time just researching because it gets kind of muddy. From what I understand, though, and Cam James has said this, that this is a legit degree. There's a proper educational institution. And this, I think you get an EDD, like a doctorate in education or something, and that permits you to put the moniker, what do they call that, signifier or something, doctor. So calling him Dr. Richey is fair. I guess he deserves to be called doctor if that's what he insists, because he has this legitimate degree. And maybe it'll shake out. Maybe the Young Turks is investigating and producing a response that's going to verify everything and prove everything that's being claimed by Cam and others that it's not accurate. But this one does seem to be legit. And he does, you know, it's worth pointing that out. That's also sort of what's kind of wacky about this is just like, what's wrong with this? This plus a bachelor's and maybe a one master, like just be this guy. Cause he does news commentary. They do Karen videos, you know, reaction videos. There's actually a really interesting article that someone wrote on Medium that I'll share with you in a little bit that sort of talks about a lot of that. You know, you don't need quantum physics degrees and Juris Doctorates, or if I don't think he even has a Juris Doctorate. There's a whole bunch of stuff to go on with the way the legal system accredit or, you know, valid, whether you qualify to practice in different parts of the countries, or different countries. There's civil and there's common law, which are two different types. Or I don't. Anyway, you don't need all that shit just to do a YouTube channel and to be a radio guy or whatever. You know, what's with all the, you know? So this probably would have been sufficient. Why bother with all the other stuff? But so Dr. Richey came out, replied with his responses, and this all was within 24 hours. And so let's see here. You can see the peaks on the watch time chart, or, you know, info at the bottom. So we'll go to here. Now he's talking about Dartmouth. Oh, goddamn.
water.
Fucking ads. These ads are so annoying. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I just wish I knew if it was skip. It's just the unknowing part of, okay.
Many are shocked to know that I was accepted at Dartmouth College and enrolled, and currently a student at Dartmouth College, in particular, the School of Medicine.
It says, Dear Rashad, congratulations. You have been admitted to Dartmouth's MS in Implementation Science program at the Geisel School of Medicine, is what he's showing on screen. So, true, maybe? Is he a trustworthy source for this stuff? I think after looking into it all, I don't think so. But, you know, some of this might be legit. It's hard to say. Again, the comments are interesting. Some, you know, a lot of kind of simple responses, but there's also plenty of thoughtful answers and people who have advanced degrees that talk about how hard they worked and why didn't I just pay for mine? like this guy seems to have done. Let's just jump ahead a little.
Covered the
this is titled Dr. Richey's University Degrees are accredited, validated, and confirmed.
Interdisciplinary analysis.
Oh, this is his published research. Published is in air quotes there.
S2, which is one of the largest research universities in France.
Sorry, back up.
Hopefully I'll be finished in about a year and a half. There's more. I also hold a master's in agronomical physics.
Agronomical
Physics from the University of Renaissance. They have a partnership with the University of Rennes 2, which is one of the largest research universities in France. My master's thesis, which is double-blind, peer-reviewed, and published, covered the interdisciplinary analysis of Earth's geomagnetic quantum field, a study of human physiology and agronomy. Agronomy, or agronomical science, is the science of Earth agriculture.
All right.
My particular program dealt with Earth agriculture in the context of human physiology and the interactive elements involved. I made a outside of mainstream conclusion.
So he does this for a half hour. He talks about all these different degrees he's got. I don't know. He didn't exactly debunk stuff. I mean, it's not like he said, here's what he said, and then here's what's wrong. Here's what he said, here's what's wrong. Here's what he said, here's what's wrong. Here's the proof. Here's the sources. This is credible. Here's what can't. It wasn't that. It was just kind of, this is what I have sort of stuff. So let's just hit the ending here.
to Renaissance and was able to obtain my Doctor of Jurisprudence there, which qualifies me to take the bar in pretty much any state I choose to under the FLE licensing program per the ABA. Once again, bunch of certifications, other qualifying degrees. I finished my bachelor's at Beulah Heights University. One person said, he doesn't even have a bachelor's degree. You're right, I have two. I have a bachelor's in religious studies and I have another one in applied psychology. All right.
I feel like all Americans have a bachelor's in religious studies. It's just nightmare-ass fucking society, right? Whether you want one or not, you're forced to live with these. Okay, sorry, that's my own. Okay.
My brother, I'm sorry I had to have you to sit through all that. I'm doing this one damn time.
It's all
one
good,
time.
man.
That's it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Completely. It's all good. Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, like, you one of the people that I legitimately look up to and admire, and for two main reasons. One, I think that just as someone who continuously strives and continuously keeps your ambition and vigor for life alive.
This is Jackson White. He's a contributor to TYT. He's been on with Cenk a whole bunch of times. He does stuff on Rebel HQ. I think he's also on this space, actually.
For me, that's important as someone who also my aspirations and the path for my career and what I want to make out of my purpose is the most important thing to me. And I think that often people feel like it's too late or like they're too old to keep that part of them alive. So I think that that's very inspirational. And also through lots of hard work and tribulations, you're just a better person than I am in a lot of ways. So it's just something to work towards. And I've always admired that about you a lot, because for me, success is not of question. That's I'm gonna be successful, but I don't have to be a good person. So I think that that's something that is very inspirational about you.
Brother, I find you to be equally as inspirational. And I want to say this to everyone.
Okay, here we go.
Let nobody limit who you are. You are limitless. I am not your competition. I'm an example that it can be done. You are more than just a physical body. You are limitless in mind. What your goals are, you can achieve.
Nope.
I don't go to schools or colleges to obtain degrees. I go there to obtain education.
I went there for the LAN parties, man. Warcraft. I couldn't believe they had T1 lines. It was amazing.
And so you'll see someone cite that I have a Bible college degree from 20 years ago. I do. Because at that time I was a youth minister. But I don't list them as qualifying degrees for science. I would never do that. So I'm not responding to all the ridiculous stories of people writing articles that may have associated me with one university or the other that I just don't have any affiliation with. But what I wanted you to know is that this guy right here that comes here every day, loves you, will advocate for you. Obviously, I'm no charlatan. But I want to remind everybody the same,
obviously,
same folk that tried to pull this mess are the same people that voted for Herschel Walker, who don't have a damn degree and lied about going to University of Georgia.
Oh, the people pulling the mess also voted for Herschel Walker, he says. Okay. And all right. I mean, yeah, Herschel Walker, he was running for governor. It was a world-class fucking moron, that Herschel Walker. I mean, like CTE on top of probably a,
So those are the folks we're talking about.
Okay, so he's reacting. He seems to have spirited defense of his qualifications. If we scroll down, oh, for fuck's sake, fucking YouTube. Let's go to the comments. Let's see, just a bit of the comments here. These are the newest. Wow, what a fraud. Yet he still has what the hell? That's not. Yeah, okay, it is. Yet he still has 1.3 million subs. I doubt many people watch him for his degrees or lack thereof. Clark is a wonderful HBCU. Never forget that fact. What doctor? What doctor, professor, veteran, scientist, etc., etc. It is crazy. Dude is weird. All this word salad for foreign degrees. Doc, you are the GOAT. Someone says the guy at the end is a fine one. I have seen other comments say how attractive Jackson White is too. And yet another thing I am jealous about. He has zero shame. Yeah. So person here says there's no date on the Dartmouth admission letter. All university admission letters have dates. And So you get a lot of investigations happening in the comments. You know, but overall though, there wasn't a lot of positives in terms of people. And it's just because someone's commenting doesn't mean they're his audience, right? You do see people say stuff like, I'm a big fan of yours, but this is concerning. And oh my God, I can't believe it fell for, you know, stuff like that. But then Cam, in his industriousness, produced a response video very quickly. So Rashad's first response was posted on, I think, the 1st. Let's get the date. December 31st. Remember, Cam's was the 30th. Rashad answers on the 31st. Now Cam has a response on the 2nd of January. So this was all happening, and I was kind of paying attention to this. I saw Cam's video before he posted the second one. So this is titled Exposing Rashad Richey Part 2, The Scam University and Fake Investigation Firm. I'll just play the beginning here. Please, again, as always. Wait, why am I not subscribed? Oh, I am. I didn't subscribe to Crash Outs. He's got 2 channels that you subscribe to. I knew it because I had subscribed. I was going to be annoyed if YouTube unsubscribed me.
Yes, I talked about the many, many fake degrees of Rashad Richey.
Sorry, we're going to back up to the beginning.
In the first part of this series, I guess, I talked about the many, many fake degrees of Rashad Richey, a political media figure who's been prominent in the YouTube and larger Black political landscape for years. He works with the Young Turks network and broadcasts progressive debates and opinion pieces, as well as top Karen of the Year segments. You know, important political discussions like that.
We should do a cartoon called The Karen Bears, where it's the Care Bears, but they're just a bunch of upset white ladies at Costco being racists.
I joke. I actually ran down his accolades at the top of my previous piece on him, which is what brings us here today. After covering all the programs he's appeared on and the Southeast Regional Emmy that he was nominated for, among other things, I moved into all the lying. And there's a lot of it. Since I gave him a heads up that piece was coming out 48 hours before releasing it, which is standard for journalistic publications, he responded with a full edited TV segment the day after I released it, defending himself against my allegations. He didn't call me out by name, but my piece came out the day before and got 100,000 views, so.
Called Cam out for voting for Herschel Walker. Does he even know that? What the hell?
I think I'm good in estimating that I was the reason he was making it. Yeah. He really tried his best to defend the indefensible with painstaking details, but it was very inadequate in my opinion, and I'm going to show y'all why.
So he's tightening his zoom in there. He's push zooming in on this IJSR, which is the International Journal of Science and Research, and I think he's focusing on that because it's like Dr. Richey owns that. That's his thing, and that video we looked at before is this is the quantum brain device unveiled video, is on the International Journal of Science and Research YouTube channel, 329 views. So this is why Cam, edited it like that.
Why? There's actually a long list of things I called him out for that he didn't defend in that piece or even bring up because he didn't watch my video before making that response. Unfortunately, that was a mistake. Here's the claims I made that he didn't address, just so we get those out the way. IIC University, where he got that neurophysics degree, IIC University of Technology doesn't have a neurophysics graduate program. They literally only teach information systems, and most of the site is in Cambodian, fam. How many languages do you know? European American University.
Now a little pop-up said Khmer, which is the language, I guess.
Who he got several degrees through via John Kersey, a conservative who has a chain of fake degrees and fake things assigned to his name as well, as I reviewed in the first video. Also another fake degree. The Asia Pacific School of Business.
By the way, I'm an arch podcaster now, so please refer to me as such by the title imposed upon me by the king. I am a knighted arch podcaster.
Used to claim a degree from this one as
called me Admiral Comedian. Got my degree in Admiralty from the Burger King drive-thru.
Well, that is also a fake school, as I reviewed in the first part. He didn't mention this. His degree from the Schofield Seminary. This is a neighborhood church that I reviewed in the first part as well. He's claimed all of these.
It's just like a small-ass church, like a kind of old building, sort of ugly, dumpy church. Like, there's a million of these all over the country. We should tax the fucking churches. Can we cut this bullshit? America, come on.
Degrees and accomplishments on his LinkedIn and on the description for the Fairness Firm, a firm he created as a person who doesn't practice law because he hasn't passed the bar. I also mentioned his quantum physics book.
His book is titled Ancient Egyptian Mastery of Quantum Physics, Vibratory Frequency, and Geometric Sciences. Dr. Richey. For some reason, it's not centered in that gold stripe. Maybe that's an intentional graphic design choice. Subheading, an overview of complex scientific applications in ancient cultures. Hey, maybe they did have some stuff to teach us about quantum something back then. I mean that with mostly sincerity. Like, there's a lot of stuff that is tragically never going to be understood. The burning of the Alexandria Library. There's I think it's Cambodia. I'm sure I'm getting it wrong, but there's like this ancient library with all these old scrolls, and they've only been able to go through like a tiny percentage of them, and they're just massive. But very intelligent people, and they didn't have their phones and their brains all rattled by their phones back then, like we do today. So they had a lot of time to come up with some pretty cool stuff. So who knows? Maybe they were reaching for flasks of bubbling blue liquid, just like top scientists do today.
And his cure for Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Dr. Richey is the patent holder for the neurological brain entrainment device.
He doesn't hold a
Yes!
patent. We've been over this. Listening to this video's narration.
I don't know why I love the quantum brain helmet, the quantum Alzheimer's helmet. I could take a moral stance, taking advantage of people suffering, trying to tap into the Alzheimer's market. That's a pretty low level shit, man. That is one of the worst type of illnesses families deal with, and it is rough. It is hard going. It is not, even if you have all the resources and the time in the world to help with people, that is a difficult lift for everybody involved. Not just the patient, the whole family, so if you're trying to score, and I don't know if he's selling it, I don't think it's like on the market or something, but it's, at least it's being used to buttress his, or burnish his academics credibility and all that other stuff. So maybe that, but again, maybe it's legit. Not, and if I can get my brother's input, he's not the authority on it either, obviously, but he'll definitely have a much more precise, insights than I will on this kind of stuff. But okay, all right. This is a little bit more of this, so we'll pick one spot up ahead, and I don't want to use up too much Cam's video.
Made it kind of clear that, in my opinion,
that's the stuff I was looking for. Spinning blue brain. I need my brother to tell me if is this what neuroscientists do? A wall, a big screen, touching a brain. It's very stock footage looking kind of thing, and it looks like the guy has some kind of helmet thing on. Maybe he's in VR.
He's using AI to craft these stories in the first place, and then putting AI voiceovers on his own videos. Both of those things were in my first installment, and neither of them appeared in his response video. So that is all the things that I alleged that he had no response for and no answer for. Now, let's move into the things he tried to defend in his response. I'm going to point out why each and every one of them doesn't hold up in the light. But first, I have to start with a school I didn't even mention in my first video, Clark Atlanta University. I didn't bring that up in part one because I never said it was a lie. I told him at the end of the video that he has 2 degrees at best, and I meant advanced degrees. I was never concerned about his bachelor's degrees or any associate's degrees he might have. None of that was even on my radar. I saw it on the listings, but that was not something I was looking to challenge. So that's not really up for debate here. Clark Atlanta's...
That's interesting. One of the ways that, let's let him say this here.
It's actually one of the only schools that he has pictures of that he attended and graduated from for sure, where he has a degree on the wall. Unfortunately, there's a problem when it comes to this Clark Atlanta University mention, right? He mentions that he published his dissertation in a journal called the International Journal of Science and Research.
Okay,
In part one, I broke down how this is a predatory journal that is not peer-reviewed and not double-blind in any way. Sounds legit, but it pretends to be a scientific journal. We know this because of this impact score on top of the page. Those scores are given out by the Web of Science organization, and they have a searchable database. That journal doesn't show up. So this score is completely fabricated. It's listed by an independent organization that finds and lists and evaluates predatory journals. This journal has very aggressive solicitation, meaning they're thirsty for submissions and they're asking for them all the time.
I'm thirsty for likes and subscribes, guys, by the way. You know what to do. Smash that notification button. Yeah, okay, so the IJS science and research thing is interesting. Cam does a great job. Like, these are very watchable videos, meaning, you know, your attention is held in a way, in a good way. I mean, what was I going to say though? The journals, fake scientific journals. Oh man, I had a great point. Okay, I edited that a little bit. I forgot what I was going to say, but I remembered now. One of the things, if somehow I managed to get, have Cam on, or I can talk to him at some point, because actually, just spoiler alert, and he's been saying this, he's now moved on to doing an expose about the Young Turks. He's doing something about TYT, and that's super interesting. So we'll be really curious, because I actually reached out via super chat during a live stream that he did, mentioning the documentary and saying, you know, I've got some stuff you might want to look at. I didn't put it that way, but he seemed interested. He's interested. So there's a good chance that this is going to affect my project in terms of bringing some attention to it. And I'm sure Cam and I would probably have a great conversation about media and credibility and stuff, all the kind of stuff I've been talking about. And so one of the things I was thinking about, like, in terms of this whole point he just made about mentioning Clark Atlanta, because that's seems to be legit and true. And it's important that we give Rashad his flowers for being a doctor of education. But like, in Photoshop, I will use invert a lot, which is just a way to like switch the color values and the light value to the reverse, and it just makes the image look crazy. But it's helpful sometimes if you're lining things up, or for various reasons. It's sometimes I just use invert. It's Control I at my editing projects and stuff, and it's basically like, so the inversion of that in terms of this project, or in terms of this story, is what's true. Instead of asking Cam, hey, tell me all the stuff that's wrong, let's talk about what's accurate. Tell me what is true here. So we'll map the stuff that's inaccurate by looking at what's accurate. You know, like carving it's like when they draw someone or something, and you just draw the shadow. And then what emerges from drawing shadows becomes, you know, someone's hand or someone's face, or, you know, a tree, or, you know, a 40-pound bag of chicken McNuggets you scammed out of KFC, you know? So I think, like, it'd be kind of interesting to say, like, okay, so here's all of his claims, and to be fair, here's what's true. These ideally, the claims and the true statements should match up. And if there's a slight discrepancy, that's also another way to say, well, I mean, yeah, it's fine. It's hard to know of everything being accurate if it's 98% right. What are we going to do? Take the guy down for something that's we're not all totally sure about? But if it's a huge discrepancy, which it seems like it very much is. So anyway, I'm just kind of curious to maybe get into that. But he also reveals that Dr. Richey had started a school that was selling academic mills. Richey created a fake university.
Now that we've gotten through all the things he put in his response video and debunked each and every one, I'm going to drop another fact that y'all didn't know about Rashad. I held this one back from video 1 because I was being nice. Rashad Richey created his own fake college. Yeah, in 2024, he created a college called St. Magnus. Trust me, I was just as shocked as y'all. Check out the name of the university.
By the way, my doctorate in quantum downloading Pokemon memes is from St. Magnus. I'm a professor of agronomical Pokemon memes from the Magnus University and I bought it at the subway drive-through.
St. Magnus University of Science and Research. Does that ring a bell? He's gotten so many fake degrees at this point, it's almost like he took a note out of John Kersey's book and decided that he needs to get on the scam at the top level. This bio is in the Hall of Fame of overcompensation. I promise y'all are not ready for this. Kersey has a stack of overlapping doctorates, chancellor and professor positions at the same fake colleges Rashad Richey got his degrees from, lightbulb, archbishop positions, and he named himself royalty in Europe. published hella.
Now he's showing his old video for you audio only people. He's just he's referring back to his first video. That's why we're hearing this again on this podcast.
Books himself via the European American press, has multiple knighthoods, is a colonel, admiral, and lieutenant colonel in several American states, and got a Lifetime Achievement Award from President Obama in 2014. Surprise, surprise. Here's the site via the Wayback Machine, so the pictures are going to be knocked off, but all the information is still there. It's registered in 2024. Scroll down just a little bit and you see 4 black people, 2 of them who appear to be related, who are all running a diploma mill.
So it says at the top of this site, he's showing an image of the founders, or the people from the diploma mill he's referring to that Dr. Richey seems to have started. It says our approach combines high quality with affordability. Does it accept? Do you take Discover?
Or at least trying to. I don't think this one successfully got off the ground, but all 4 of these people are added to the list of academic scammers now. Here's the registered owner, which is himself and 2 other companies he owns at the same address. I don't know why he thought he'd get away with that. And here's where they were offering courses in shit like the biophysics of ethereal healing.
Hey, I could use a little biophysical ethereal healing right about now. So, Dr. Richey responded. He put out a video within another day, and his emotional register was now amped up a bit more. Clearly, the guy seems to be in defensive mode. And to be fair, I don't blame him. He's got his reputation to defend, and he's, clearly staked a lot of his life and career on making sure people recognize him and his accomplishments and laud him for the, his contributions to human intelligence and letters and scholarship and law and physics and quantum something. And, so, okay, defend yourself. That's fine. There are some options in terms of responding to these things. One of my jokes about my project is that the only lawyer I can afford is Barbara Streisand, in terms of the Streisand effect, as I'm sure you know, but for those that don't, she's a famous old lady who our dads wished they had married in the 80s. No, she's a super famous actor way back. I don't know, she probably died of old age, might be alive still of old age. I don't know, but something to do with her house, and like they didn't want people to know where it was because of some publication. So she sued them. And then because of the lawsuit, everybody found out about it because of that. So it's called the Streisand effect. And that's actually relevant to my project with the Young Turks, is that they haven't said shit about the project. They got a former longtime employee and longtime paying fan who worked there making a detailed documentary, calling them liars, saying that they're lying, saying that, detailing all the ethical violations that they went, and being very, upfront about it with heavy research and high quality video, documentary. And they've said nothing. It's been brought up to Francesca brought it up to Cenk, or not it, but she brought my name up, and he had this crazy maniacal, evil laugh, which I know you've seen if you're already familiar with my stuff. But yeah, he didn't have that was about the only reaction that he's had in terms of responding. But they know that if they talk about it, it'll bring attention. And you think that they would want to. I'm sure Cenk probably his constant bragging about being unafraid of anybody. He's the tough guy. He's willing to stand up for everybody. He fights for the little guy and all this and that. And except he's terrified to talk to Sam Cedar on the Majority Report, even though they have an open invitation. And, he has said literally nothing at all about my project. You'd think he'd want to defend himself if he could and if he wanted to, because he knows I got him. He knows what's he going to do? How's he going to defend calling someone part-time while they work 40-hour weeks? How's he going to defend saying, explaining that the workers actually started a union 18 months before he became a politician, and despite that, he still told his audience that the political machinery of Washington put out or started the union to harm his run for Congress? What's he got? He's got nothing. So he's got his only option is to be quiet, unlike Dr. Richey. So in the response video, Dr. Richey threatens to sue. Dr. Richey says, and I'd show you clips of it, or I'd show you it right now, but it was taken down. This is a generic video, unavailable, but on YouTube, it was up for about, I don't know, under 24 hours or something like that. So he posted his second response within a day or so of Cam's second part of part 2 from Cam, and now it's gone. And in it though, twice he says once he says you are being sued. Letters are going to go out soon, and then he also reiterates it at the end. But someone with the internet connection managed to capture some of it. So it's also on the Vanguard. Actually, I think they took it down during the Vanguard stream when Vanguard was covering it, like the day after he posted or something. So we're going to take a look at 2 of those parts here real quick. These are on my Twitter. I write, you are being sued, in quotes. In a now deleted video, TYT's Dr. Richey announces he and the various educational institutions he attended are suing filmmaker researcher Cam James. Thank God I got his name right. For recent exposés about his numerous advanced degrees, calling James's work, quote, malicious lies. And then, of course, eyes emoji. Here's Dr. Richey.
Let's go to accreditation. It has been said that the school is accredited. Let me do this. Put up the attorneys for me.
He can't help himself.
All right, so for those who have spread these malicious lies, those are the people, you're looking at them, who will be in touch with you because they are analyzing all of the information, and you will be.
So it's an ad for some attorney thing. There's a phone number. Nobody contact anybody. I guess that's already happened with these. Don't do that. That's stupid. What are you doing? None of that. But so it's some group of attorneys. It's a photo of a bunch of people in suits. A mix of people standing there. Whether or not that's a legit law firm, I don't know. I have no idea. But so he's putting up what looks like a screenshot from a website of his attorneys to threaten a lawsuit. If Cenk did this to my project, it would, Cenk, please, for the love of God, could you? My lawyer Barbara Streisand should send you a request form to do it.
Be receiving a letter this week, if not this week.
You know what? I was actually really nervous about defamation when I was working on my film and doing, I'm still working on it, but I looked into defamation very carefully. And the more I learned about it, the more I realized I would be the one to sue them for defamation. But, that's complicated in a lot of ways. But yeah, public figures have a much higher standard for defamation for like a politician. If you post something that's untrue about a politician, you're, it's harder to call that defamation than if it's your neighbor and you post something untrue about your neighbor, for instance. So private individuals who aren't in the public eye have a slower standard or higher standard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so like so he's telling Cam, and he's using the word. So if you're not super familiar with defamation, there's also libel and slander, which I think are like subsets. One's spoken, one's written. It has to be that you are lying on purpose with the intention to cause harm. And the two words that will sort of signal someone is talking about defamation. In fact, I have a video, or I'm not going to play it now, but it's something I found in the research for the film when Anna Kasparian, when she was reacting to the terrible, slanderous, smearful reporting that the New York Times did about Cenk's interview with David Duke. It's a big sequence in the movie. It's at the end of the first 46 minutes. That's in the ethical dark web sequence. Anna was she was saying intentional and malicious. She said that a couple of times. Intentional and malicious. So the two buzzwords are intentional and malicious. If someone's trying to threaten defamation without saying the word defamation. Yeah. So like I could argue Cenk intentionally lied about me and my friends in terms of what the union busting or how the union got started, because he was intending to deceive his audience about the origins, because he was intending to hide the exploitative working conditions that drove us to unionize, because it would unveil a much bigger truth about Cenk, that he doesn't live the principles that his audience thinks they support. He doesn't give a shit if people have health insurance. And I know that because I said, can I have health insurance? And his answer was no. Paraphrasing, it went through HR to do that. But, dude called me part-time while I'm working 40-hour weeks. So they had intended, but whatever. We're not trying to persecute some sort of defamation thing here, but I feel very safe in terms of me, being charged with some sort of defamation because I know I'm not lying and I'm talking about a story I lived directly. And I also have all the receipts that show it. You don't just have to assume that I'm being honest. Fucking autistic. I have the kind of honesty that ruins lives. I'm almost incapable. And obviously everybody's, I think, capable of lying, but like, it's like, I wish I wasn't as honest as I am. It's not been well for me. That's why comedian and podcaster are probably like the two things I could possibly do for a living. And I'm even terrible at both of those. Good thing I'm excellent at being a very tall, nice man. Green flag.
Next week, you are being sued.
Oh, wait. All right. Let me back up. I really got in the way of that. So he brings it up, put up on screen.
All of the information, and you will be receiving a letter this week. If not this week, next week. You are being sued. Not only are you being sued by me, you're being sued by others. The institutions that you decided to defame are suing you as well. I'm giving you fair notice, fair warning. I'm sure I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I am.
Barbara Streisand's ghost just had, just like shuddered. Like, she shows up every night. Do not bring it up. Trust me. Let me take you through what happens if you do threaten to sue. That's my Barbara Streisand impression. It's pretty good. Yeah, he threatens this. I don't think that's even a threat. I think that's an announcement. I think that's more than a threat. Isn't a threat like I might do it? This is like I am doing this thing. So I don't know if this is true or not. Cam James did a live stream where he talked about this a bunch. He I guess there's some sort of insurance. I didn't even know about that. So he has some kind of insurance, and the audience was very supportive and showing a lot of solidarity and backup to him, and so he'll probably be fine. And of course, everybody says in the comments like Discovery is this guy ain't gonna sue. This Discovery means you have to actually bring the receipts for everything, and that's where these kinds of that's what makes or breaks that sort of thing. So a little more to this, and then there's another one to play.
Accreditation. Paris Graduate School is a college registered.
So that's him. Oh, shit. I keep pressing spacebar. So that's him getting back to it. That's why he's just staring at the camera. We'll just do this one last.
Doing you as well. I'm giving you fair notice, fair warning. I'm sure I'm not supposed to tell you this, but I am. It's careless.
Careless.
Accreditation. Paris Graduate School is a college registered with the French Ministry of Education. That's the government again. Approved by Bureau des Certification International and Qualipo. Let's go to
it. Says Qualiopi or something. It doesn't even pronounce that. It's Qualiopi. He said Qualipo. To be fair, let's just grant more good faith than he deserves. Being on camera and reading and looking down and then looking up, maybe he's got some eyesight. Sometimes it's not that easy to pick up a word, especially kind of a weird word. I'll grant someone a little space, but I have seen comments. People say a lot of times that he struggles to pronounce words and stuff like that. Does that indicate lack of intelligence? I think it's a little snobby to say yes to that. But someone with, 1,700 advanced degrees and is curing Alzheimer's with helmets, probably I would assume they know how to pronounce words generally. But, I'd make space if Einstein struggled with stuff, I was just about to have Einstein mispronouncing the word orgasm for some reason. That's where okay. So here's this is the way this episode ended. This one is kind of entertaining for the way it ends. So in the first one, it goes to Jackson White, and it's like, that guy doesn't need to be involved. What are you throwing to him for? So that he has to, what's he supposed to say? I don't know, man. It doesn't seem all that true. Like, of course he's going to say some supportive shit, but that's a pretty uncomfortable position to put another person who's not involved with it. So, so keep that in mind as we get to the end of this in about 5 hours, because I'm sure I'm going to interrupt it. So it says it's a 2-minute video. The Young Turks host, this is what I wrote. The Young Turks host, Dr. Richey, ends his response to filmmaker Cam James's recent exposés by reiterating his commitment to pursue legal action, lauding his transparency in a now deleted video. Blink, blink. Blink, blink. Lauding his transparency in a now deleted video. Quote, "They won't be this transparent with you on any day, but see, I give a damn." So he's exceptional in his transparency because he cares. only to then go and delete the video within hours. Fuck off, man. Anyway, all right, here we go.
I have a master's of science in agronomical physics. I don't think that's in question.
Nope.
I have published research there. I have my bachelor from Beulah Heights University. I don't think that's in question. Let's put it the attorneys again.
There we go.
I want to say a big thank you to Stacey Evans and her legal team for jumping on top of this immediately. They worked over the weekend. They could not believe that somebody was doing this intentionally.
You hear that, Cam? His attorneys couldn't believe it. Stacey's saying, oh, man, I just can't believe he's doing it. Weekend.
I wanted to believe it was being done out of a good faith effort to try to find something, and you made a mistake. I no longer believe that. I think this was intentionally done.
Intentionally. Now, he said it twice.
I've provided quite compelling proof and transparency. The real requirement is, if you believed I had no qualifying degrees in the subjects I teach, call the universities. Ask them, because that's the standard for every other professor. They don't come and show their transcripts to you, but I did. I guarantee you the people who have criticized me for just simply going to college and learning.
I'm not quite sure that's an accurate description of the criticisms, Dr. Richey. You're a journalist, aren't you? They aren't. Cam's point wasn't, can you believe this guy went and learned? Look at this asshole learning. I'm making videos about him because he went to learn something. Nobody's doing that. That's called strawmanning. Did he go to the Cenk Uyghur Graduate School of Strawman Education? Because that's what that is. That's gaslighting, and that's bullshit. That's not at all what Cam is doing or anybody's doing in this whole story. That's BS, man. If you believe that I'm getting criticized for learning, give me a break, dude. Come on. Let me back it up a little bit, though.
They don't come and show their transcripts to you, but I did. I guarantee you the people who have criticized me for just simply going to college and learning, they won't show you their transcript. They won't be this transparent with you on any day. But see, I give a damn.
He's transparent.
All right. Yes, but thoughts here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, what else is there to say? You were so thorough with all of this.
Like, leave her out of it. It's not her deal. What? This is just, I just find that part kind of ugly, man. Come on. I've seen her a bunch. She's on TYT. She's very steady. She's nice. She does a good job. She's good. But she's got to like throw in and help out with this whole weird project here.
I think it's just sad that people can spin an entire narrative whenever the actual information is so readily available, and you did such a good job of laying it all out. It really is just like a waste of everyone's time that we had to do this, that you're being put through this, that you now have to take legal action against the people who are doing this to you. So I wish you all the best in the proceedings. And what else is there to say? You've said it all.
There it is.
She's a pro. She did it. And actually the waste of time thing made me think of just like, it is a waste of time to have to do this. I feel that way about my project because it's a waste of time that Cenk initiated it. Cenk is the one whose agency, whose decisions he had the power to, started this process when I showed up to work for him, and they brought me back to work for them because they already knew me. And, as a full-time video editor, and called me an independent contractor. Cenk initiated this whole process. I didn't take the initiative to start it. I was more than fucking happy to just leave working for somewhere and move on and deal with, I tried to start a woodworking YouTube channel, Bum Rush Industries, really good videos. Then I got a job at a woodworking place and I fucked up my wrists. You can see my hand. I always like to point out my mallet behind me. I was happy to like leave this behind me, but the guy lied about me and my friends and never corrected it. And so that's what set off this whole process of starting off my thing, and it's exhausting. But the waste of time, and I'm not saying this to like take on Yaz here or whatever, but like similarly though, the waste of time in this story is Dr. Richey's agency, his will, meaning he chose to present himself as a person with 11 degrees or 14 degrees, or however many degrees it is, right? Great point, Hank. You nailed it. So that's super interesting, though. Whether that's actually a real lawsuit, I don't know. I suspect not. I feel like that's not at all, but maybe it is. I mean, maybe the lawyer said, dude, what are you doing? Putting our phone number on the thing, like announcing it? Like, what? This is dumb. Why would you? So, I don't know where it's going to end up. We'll see. We'll see if Cam James, but he's now going to be doing something about the Young Turks, which I'm excited about, obviously. I know he's going to be showing some of my work, and, the union situation is relevant. And probably stuff about Hassan. There's all sorts of stuff there. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting to keep an eye on this whole story. And if you're still not totally sick of it all, I highly recommend this. Medium, which is a blogging platform like Substack. But somebody, Phaser Domino, F-A-Z-E-R, wrote, Dr. Richey, Say It Ain't So, mistaking actors for leaders. It's a really worthwhile read, though. He cites Cam's work and kind of gets into it. But it's a nice, thoughtful piece about the role that Dr. Richey's playing and the way that people use credibility and degrees and all this stuff. So I'm not going to I'm doing a terrible job summarizing it. But I found it's a compelling read, and it had some interesting insights and some interesting and thoughtful angles to it. So you look for Dr. Richey, Say It Ain't So, Mistaking Actors for Leaders, if you want to look that up. Just type in Phaser Dr. Richey, and you should be able to find it. F-A-Z-E-R. Yeah, fascinating, really interesting. And so, we'll keep an eye on it. Obviously, you can find more from me, but, more than likely it'll be like 6 months before I finally get around to doing another podcast because I suck at this. But obviously, I'm paying close attention to it, and hopefully there's some attention brought to my project. And I think Cam has done a lot of really good work. And he seems to have a nice big solidarity wind of people in the comments supporting him. The comments are actually super interesting in these posts. Let's see. This is Cam's video. Top comments. Someone writes, bro, journals aren't double blind. Studies are. He doesn't even know enough about scientific research to fake it. Another one. As someone who's earned a PhD in biochemistry through kidney failure dialysis, I have no respect for people who buy worthless pieces of paper from diploma mills and pretend to have done the work of an actual scholar. Here's another one. A journal with a Gmail account. How does he figure he's going to pass an American bar exam by studying Haitian law? He won't sue for quote unquote defamation because there will be high pitched voice discovery. Sorry, I had to stay on these scammers' necks, bruh. Someone writes. He got C's in math, but has a PhD in quantum physics? ? So people aren't buying it, and even on his own videos, there's a lot of people supporting. A lot of people, he's popular enough to have a fan base that wants to, circle the wagons and protect him and stuff, and that's okay too. I think that's just kind of the way people are. But all right. Well, 2 hours 28 minutes. Fucking goddamn it. So this is a long one. I was really gonna do this in an hour. Why do I always think I can do that? You could get a Bachelor of Science in Business Management, concentration, faith-centric operations. I have a Bachelor's in Science in running a church. Come on. Kiss my ass, man. Bachelor of Arts by Research? This is nuts. Psychology of Faith? This is... Okay, all right. This is just a screenshot of the fake university that Cam was pointing out. So, okay, guys, that's it. Check out the channel, tellthetruthjank.com. If you'd like to sign up for the email. Again, I'm not going to send... I don't have a schedule. I don't even know what... It's not like I have monthly, but I might do monthly at most. Or, if not at most, but like maybe, sudden... new something, might be a reason to not do it every month. I don't want to violate someone. But I'm not here to blow up anybody's inbox. It's me we're talking about. You think I got the fucking energy to do this? Bother you with some weird shit about your email? But if you do want to keep up with the project, because we definitely this is a powerful part of building an audience that has enough interest to want to keep up to speed with things without having to, do it themselves. I will send you emails every once in a while, and it all goes into a secure spot. And it's, and it's also a nice purple button. I'm really proud of the purple. So why does that make me so happy? But very good. Very good. More to come. Much more to come. And if you're new to this whole project, I always try to point people to the sources on the website, because this is like third-party stuff. Of course, I have a link to my Substacks as well. But, you can see the various things related to this whole story. Just the fact that TYT Union's Twitter account still has the entire fight still on their page shows that a intense union busting campaign occurred, even though Cenk told multiple different parties that nothing even like union busting happened. He said it was a giant miscommunication on the Revolutionary Change podcast. So yeah, see, this is how website design is tricky, because you have to size everything. It's called Flexbox, and I got to change this so that these aren't so small, so that all the graphics move around when you're changing desktop sizes, because of the myriad of different devices and screen sizes and stuff. That's one of the trickier parts about doing website stuff. So wonderful. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Looking forward to more this year. It's not going to be consistent yet. Maybe. Unlikely. I do keep thinking, if I just didn't do the camera and just talked and just rambled for 45 minutes to an hour, that's easy for me. That's how I sleep talk. I could probably do that consistently, but currently I'm very overwhelmed with these two big projects I've got. In fact, I've already just doing this episode right now has just burned up a ton of my days capacity. So it's stupid that I've done this to myself, because I have so much work to do today to get to work on that. Plus I got to edit this goddamn thing. Just going to try to make it quick. But, and if you want more of me, Suck Professor has my Valheim playthrough. It's not a finished playthrough or anything, but it's me playing a game called Valheim. It's like an open world survival craft, kind of like Minecraft. And I just love my neurodivergence is tickled by the construction. I love building stuff, and it's a whole bunch of partially completed projects. It's literally like my real life, and it scratches that woodworking brain of mine. Precision, details, experimenting, trying to execute a design, trying to, being satisfied when it works and course correcting when it doesn't. It has a lot of that, and there's a bunch of fun adventuring. There's fishing, there's cooking, there's farming, there's lots of loneliness, there's baldness, and lots of decorating. So it's a great time. But I've been editing and posting a bunch of those. I actually have to get a bunch scheduled. I've got 20 ready to go that aren't yet totally ready to go, but I've got most of it done. And it's just one way that I, am hoping to continue to keep putting stuff out there, because I'm not doing super consistent podcasts. There's at least enough Hank out there for anyone that might decide to, I don't know, I have made a bet that I am interesting enough to be supported by an audience as a career, and that is so far not proving super effective, but I'm still sort of making that bet. And if you might not even have to be into video games. I do get off on weird jags and rambles about different stuff, but I also talk about the game quite a bit, and I actually want to do different games on there as well. And go check out This Space too, by the way. They're doing some good work on YouTube. I've connected with them a little bit. That's Matt Strackbine and a few other people it's a cooperative media effort. I showed you at the beginning to these two podcasts. Well, Ron's not on This Space. He's been on, I think, with those guys, but Good Morning Comrades on This Space. And other shows. And actually going to be on Alex Devil's Advocate Productions next week, which I'm excited to, do and talk about. So I know he's also interested in the Rashad story as well. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. Do some stretches. Careful about your back. Don't just, look it up. But if you're a hunchy sitter over many years and you do it without thinking because you don't think about it too much, I wish someone told me 5 years ago and said, Hank, your future self you're headed down a road that's going to be really painful. So you can avoid it. You just got to get your spine into some neutral positions throughout the day so that you're not spending so much time squeezing those discs. So, okay. All right. I guess I got to go now. Got all kinds of stuff to do. Have fun, everybody. Sorry the world is the way it is. It sucks how things are, but we can change. We just got to, be strong together and fight the power and speak truth to power and stand up for each other, because the ultimate lesson of my project and my film, Tell the Truth, Cenk, is that they're afraid you will learn that we are stronger than they are. That's why they've designed society to be a solidarity disrupting machine. One of the lines I'm going to use in the film is, union busting is what happens when solidarity busting fails. So, on that note, I'm going to go refresh the internet, and I'm going to scream for 5 minutes. Bye-bye.